Hello, Hugh and Sonia. There should be a link in there, if I've got this half right. I'm trying to bring up the chat currently. I've got it open in a different browser. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when you hurry and you're new at something. There we go, and that's me making a noise. Okay.
Hey.
Hey, Hugh, how are you, mate?
It's your favorite Canadian. What's up?
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, gee, they're all taking the time to join. That's because I hadn't clicked the start streaming button.
Hey, I was wondering. I searched back a couple times and refreshed the page.
I'm sitting here thinking, gee, they're all taking the time. Oh, sorry, mate. Hang on. Join. That's because that should be a bit better, I think.
There we go.
Yep. Trust me to get it wrong. And hello, Jim, as well, I think. I've still got the wrong browser open.
Yeah, I had to cut off my audio.
Okay, now I'm here.
So tomorrow is my 1 year anniversary on YouTube.
1 year. It's about my 1 month.
Yep. So I'm thinking I'll do something. I need to make a video or something to kind of, celebrate or mark the event. See what happens.
You could give a really bad review to an Amazon product. Oh, no, wait, you already did that.
Hey, this is a piece of shit. It's going back. But then a couple of my viewers made a suggestion about positioning the zippers and stuff like that. And I think I may end up doing that because I looked at other bags and there's just nothing even close. I'll have to pay literally 3 times the price to get something that's even close.
Yep.
I think I'm going to use that zip tie mod that I talked about and just move the zippers down to the bottom, and hopefully that fixes it.
Yep. All good.
Let's see what happens.
Hey, you know what? You could do a review on those sonic things that get rid of the squirrels.
You mean shotguns? They're quite sonic.
You plug these things in and they make this noise that we can't hear, but it supposedly chases the squirrels. Let me tell you, I bought a couple. They do not work.
Oh, they don't? No, okay.
Yeah, we have a similar thing out here that you're supposed to mount on your bull bar, and it repels kangaroos, and you drive around with a really solid feeling of security until one ricochets off the front of your car.
We have them too. Little bullet-shaped objects. They're supposed to whistle. Yeah, saying it's all bullshit.
Yeah, the bullet-shaped objects, they really do keep the roos away, especially when you fire them out of a rifle.
Well, there you go. Yeah, got to be a little more proactive with those.
Hello, Rick. There's a link up at the top, but I'll paste it in again if you want to join us.
It's still there.
There it is again.
Those sonic noisemakers, man, they don't work. And then I tried something called fox urine. Comes in dried pellets. Put that out. That doesn't work. I can't get rid of the damn squirrels.
Why do they? We don't have squirrels here, so are they a pest? Do they cause problems? Do they chew wires or something?
They get up in your attic, yeah.
Yeah, we have possums that do that, but generally the answer is make sure your roof is secure. But then again, see, this is the other thing. We don't have rabies in Australia, so...
oh, I didn't know that.
No, it's never been here. We got really tough quarantine because we don't have foot and mouth. We don't have rabies. A lot of the things that are a big problem. The only mad cow disease we have is in federal parliament.
That's good. We've had that with chicken houses and everything. Now they have now they have those chicken houses. They're all enclosed, and you have to go in a white suit.
Oh my God, dude! My father is a barn painter, and we used to paint those chicken sheds, and I have never smelled anything like that in my life. Just brutal. I mean, it's just so toxic that I couldn't even eat chicken for years after working around them. Ugh. Nasty. Shalom.
I watched a couple of those documentaries, and Yeah, I don't think I can get in trouble for saying it, but farms like Tyson Industries, you know, they buy up all these little farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when it comes to common sense, the law is never really sensible, is it? So I'd always be worried about being sued, especially by those bloody Americans. They sue everybody.
Oh, it's true.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did I tell you guys the other day, Canada has now banned the import of all knives that have an open thumb stud. I mean, what the actual fuck? Really? Come on. Like, does this make this a real? I mean, are you scared, Mr. Policeman, that I can open the knife like that? Oh, God.
Mars, there's a link. Hey, Mars, there's a link in the chat if you want to click on it and join the panel. Feel free, and Sve's with us. Look, at the moment, the Australians are having a bit of a hate on the Americans because one of our companies has just lost a major court battle in the US over UGG boots, which is an Australian. It's an Australian brand, and it was bought out by a US company, fair and square, probably a decade ago. But they're making them in China and marketing them as UGG boots Australia. So somebody here in Australia started marketing them, under the premise that they could call it UGG boots, but they couldn't call it UGG boots Australia. And that hasn't worked too well, I'm afraid. They lost.
Yeah.
I saw a guy on, I forget what I was watching, but he got sued for using Monsanto seed. And what had happened was the seed actually blew into his field.
Yeah.
But Monsanto sued him anyway.
And won. Yeah, they do that a lot.
Yes, it comes down to whoever's got the biggest bank balance. Anybody who's in the chat who wants to jump in the panel, feel free. By the way, James, you were here last night. I do realise that there's nothing I can do that's going to give me crystal clear video, but would you say it's any improvement over last night?
Yeah, you're better right now.
Yep. Okay, that's good. I've wound back all of the settings and I've changed over to variable bit rate between 250 and 750. So that's about the best I can do. I did have an order in for the National Broadband Network. However, I put that on hold because when we were out at Esk is where the Wivenhoe Dam is, where I took that video. The wife and I have decided we're going to attempt to buy a house and move out there.
Nice. How far away is that from where you are now?
About an hour's drive. So, 50, 60 miles.
Not too bad, yeah.
Look, the price of homes, we don't own here. I've been here 27 years. I know the guy who owns the place. I rent off him. We've never owned a home because they pensioned me so early and unexpectedly. But the price of houses out there, I can buy a home cheaper than I can rent here.
That's fantastic. Good. Glad to hear it.
Thanks, Mars. So we're going to try anyway. They may not, because as I've said before, I'm still technically a pensioner. I probably will be for another 3 years yet, because it's not until I start making. I've got not the average pension. I'm pensioned unless I decide to, unless I manage to make money. So until the business starts to make a profit, they'll keep me on the pension, which is good of them.
Yeah, with my hips, I'm technically disabled, but I make just enough with my writing income to not be able to get any money. So.
Yep. I'm technically disabled.
Right on that edge, which sucks because there's actually a lot of services that I'm not able to access either.
Like healthcare.
Anyway, what are you gonna do?
Thanks, Rick. I'm glad to know it looks better. Yeah. I think this is about the best I'm going to be able to do.
Now we do get the basics here in Ontario, so I can't complain. It's not too bad.
Does it matter, Ari, what you have running? Like, do you have to have the graphics running with it and all that for you personally?
Yeah, they are running, although it's all reversed for me. It's all running in the background behind Hangouts. I've got a program called what's it damn called? Hang on, I'll have to bring it up. It's called Snaz. It's running in the background. It makes graphical text files. That's what generates the countdown timers and all of this sort of thing. You can do a lot more than that. And then OBS is running over the top of that. And within OBS, all of the various windows point to other things. I don't know whether I'm pointing in the right place, but
Yeah.
this one up here, that's a second video camera. So I've got a second video capture source, and then that one over there, oops, that fellow there, that's streaming from just a MP4 file on my hard drive, and the little ticker at the bottom there, that's a GDI text which it points to, and the Remote Pilots Australia logo is simply a transparent GIF, and you import them as. Well, hang on, I'll bring it up and show you. First, you'll get the endless screen business. So there we go. All right, now I'll bring up OBS. Okay, and over here, okay, that should be coming up. Over here, you've got 4 scenes, which is join live stream, video recording if I want to record an intro or an outro, host a live stream, which I'm using now, and countdown. And the reason that I have different ones for each is because some of them, they have to be transposed fully 180 degrees. And then over this side, well, I'm in host a live stream. I've got video in video. That's the spark flight, and live stream duration timer. That's the little fellow at the top that says 6 minute 40 something. Right. The r.p.a.s logo, which is the transparent GIF. The bottom ticker. The lower third, that's the one that fades in and out. The Logitech 525, that's the outside cam, and the Logitech 922, which is the one that's looking at me. And the order that they're placed in there is important, because the one at the top will override all of the ones underneath it in order. And if you were to pick on one, I'll just pick on the video, and in video, and I go properties. You can see there that I have the path on my hard drive. I browse to it, and I tell it to loop. I tick the loop and just say OK, and away it goes. And everything is put in that sort of manner. You just have to choose whether it's a GDI, a media file, a web page, and so forth. It's very complicated when you start, but you soon get the hang of it. I'll just stop sharing that now.
So that's just using your computer power. That's got nothing to do with bandwidth.
Yeah, that's right. And all right, I'll put the. I will attempt to put the share back up and show you that. Oh dear, did I share it? No, I didn't. All right, share, and I'll go back to OBS just to stop the instant thing. Okay, if I bring up my. As you can see, I'm running about around 38, 39, 40, up to peaked 49. So say 30 to 35% CPU, and I've got about 47% of my memory taken at this time. So it's not, I'm using an i7. It's not hugely resource hungry. And then it mixes it down. If I bring up the settings and we go here, this is what actually controls what goes out. If I look at the output, you can see that I've got it set for a variable bit rate between 250 and 750 bits per second. Standard is 2,500. That's where I've stepped. That's where I've stepped it down to meet my link. And in the video, I'm capturing at 1920 by 1080, but I'm outputting at 1280 by 720, and that's how I bring the bandwidth used down.
That's because Hangouts only does 720 anyway, right?
Does it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So there we go. Well, I was actually streaming earlier yesterday. It must attempt to do more, because the reason my video was so crappy yesterday was I was streaming in 1920. I would say that if you're using the capture within Hangouts, it probably is limited, but I'm not using the capture in Hangouts. I'm using the capture in OBS, and I'm mapping the control of OBS to Hangouts. It's subtly different.
Forget where I saw that. I think maybe it's just actually on the video replays that they only come in at 720.
That's YouTube that controls that.
Right. Yeah, that's a max of 720 on all of them with the Hangouts.
So that's it. And I started running OBS about 2 weeks ago, but I only really figured out how to do all the window in Windows and so forth a couple of days ago. Okay, I got that, Miles. I'll look for it.
Sent you an email on the ag drone. Around $4,000.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, yeah, it's enough.
No, I understand that, but those things, who's that? Fox Tech and guys like that are making them. They hold 21 liters.
Yeah, yeah. I don't do crop work, although I've got to do another endorsement. I've just recently finished the university course on remote sensing and imaging, and the next thing is I'm doing a fixed wing and a heavy drone endorsement.
Is that like
Oh wow!
I heard what if you use them over here, you have to get a special license for it. I'm just going to throw a number. I think it's something like a 135 in addition to your 107.
Yeah, you've got to have a special endorsement over the top of your REPL here.
Right.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm limited to about 20-pound drones in your money. The next endorsement takes me up to about 300 pounds.
Which is odd, isn't it, really? Because that may be for the spraying of liquids, but you're not going to any height. You're just doing crops.
Yep. I don't really understand their rationale, but they do it. They break ours up into 5 different categories from extremely small up to large.
Well, now in the U.S., I know we just had a comment period on category of drones. I don't know if you all got your comments in, but they want to categorize them by weight category as to whether they'll be able to go beyond visual line of sight and events and over crowds. Because right here now, you can't, frankly speaking, or literally speaking, you're not supposed to fly over a car.
No, well, that's always been the case here.
And that's ridiculous.
And yeah, hello, Thomas O'Sullivan. There's a link in the chat, and I know that you won't join, but I've told you. Oh, sorry about that.
Tomas, we're always trying to get him in.
Yeah, it's all right. I was talking to Thomas when they sent me that script and tried to infect me. Rotten swines. I wish I could narrow down exactly who it is. I do have a damn good idea, but unless I can prove it, I'm not going to name a name.
Yeah, that's fair.
He knows how to do that.
Who? Not Thomas. He wouldn't do it. Even if he did know, he wouldn't do it. No. He knows how to join though. Yeah.
Oh.
No, look, it's not hard to do anymore. There are web pages that will generate the script for you, and you've got to wonder what sort of a. They must be clever, but what sort of a smacktard makes a web page dedicated to generating malicious scripts?
Why? What are you getting at?
A lot of them, right?
Yeah, they seem to get their jollies out of tearing something down.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to know that they've ruined your day?
Yeah, that's it. Wow, Rick, you're thinking of selling your P4P. Tell Claude, I know that he's looking for, he's seriously sorry that they stopped making them. I can't tell you in US dollars, although I know that a guy recently sold a fairly comprehensive pack: aircraft, filters, multiple batteries, carry case, and car charger, and all the stuff that you name it. And he sold that out at, I think he was asking 3,000 US anyway. Whether it sold or he knocked down, I don't know.
Yeah, because the drone starts at 1,500. What are the batteries? About 100? Are they 150 each on that P4?
Probably. Well, they're 249 out here, so that would be a reasonable assumption in the US.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
Look at that.
Hey, Paul.
Oh, he speaks. You're very quiet today.
I was just watching.
How does it go? Oh my God, Paul Murray's in the house.
For the love of God,
for the love of God, there you go. Hugh's got it.
Get him a brownie.
Yes. I soon Philly is going to be more imitated than Ronald Reagan.
Oh yeah,
I bet you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. He and Brenda Klein are going to link up and do a daytime show. That ought to be wild.
Yeah, it's they're gearing it towards positive mindset and mental health.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
I really need both of these.
Yeah, seriously.
One for each foot.
Oh, the scooters. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, I don't have, mental health or well-being, so I'm right.
We had a law. If it was gasoline powered, it couldn't be. Well, we still have it. You can't be any more than 49 cc's. So I wonder what the law is on these electric ones.
There is a law, but nobody gives a shit because it's like you can't really know. I mean, they have found a system of how they can test out like the power of the scooter, but from what I know, they have so many people driving these things nowadays. Um, Israel has this innovative, couple of innovative companies that basically produce these type of scooters to the entire world, where you can just use your phone and just then you basically get the scooter and you can drive it all over the city, and then you wherever you put it, someone's gonna pick it up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
They
that's
have
an
that.
Israeli company.
They have that with bicycles, so that would be easy to implement with those.
Well,
Yeah.
out here, the limit is 200 watts or 11 miles per hour. They're limited to. Although it's a bit of a joke. We have a new startup about 6 months old in Brisbane called Lime Scooters, and they have them
Yeah.
all around the city, and those go way more than 11 miles per hour and way more than 200 watts. It's like in Israel. Everybody here just ignores it. They buy. You can actually buy ones from overseas that are 600, 800 watts, but on them they're all marked as being 200 watts.
Yeah, I'm
Just
showing you
change.
guys an example of one of them. This is basically I'm driving one right now, but if you look on the right side, you'll see that there's a black and white scooter on the side of the road.
Yep.
That's the ones you basically can use your phone and get. I think it's around $1 for like 10 minutes or something, and you can just use it and leave it wherever you want. The problem is that they have so many of these right now. I think they have like 5,000 in Tel Aviv, so it's basically everywhere.
Yeah, that's it. Well, somebody died here in Brisbane last week, the first fatality.
Yeah.
Mind you, they're trying to blame it on the scooter. I believe he was drunk as a skunk and twice as ugly, and he rode it down a flight of steps.
Yeah.
Evil Knievel.
I'm getting so much views on these videos. It's insane. Just like local Israeli videos on scooters, they get around 5 times more than anything else. So I'm producing as many videos as I can.
Well, tell them that there's 2 young kids in Australia who'd love to review them for a couple of years for them.
I wonder if the views in Australia are the same. I didn't think
Have you
about
seen
that.
that board with the one wheel?
Nope.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
goes
the one
about,
in the middle. Yeah,
Yeah, it's called one wheel. It's just called
One
one
wheel.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big fat wheel in the middle.
yeah, that's it.
Went all over the place.
Thomas O'Sullivan is asking Paul what channel Mike and Brenda are going to be streaming on. Will it be one of theirs, or will it be an entirely new
Yeah,
channel?
on Tuesdays they're going to do Brenda's channel, which is Brenda Klein, and on Fridays, then Michael's going to use his channel, and Brenda will come and join his channel.
There you go. Yeah, Mars wants one as well. He's going to ride it around the neighbourhood in drag.
Why not? The way they're building the neighborhoods, I mean, urban speaking, you're never more than, 5 miles away from a supermarket or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Welcome, Centroid, and feel free to join us if you'd like.
Well, I have a golf cart I use around town.
Do you?
Yep, I have a club car precedent, and the in the U.S. you can drive a golf cart under the Electric Mobility Act or something like that, and you can drive it on highways under 35 miles an hour or less, and they can't go any more than 20. I think it's 24 miles an hour. But they have to have everything. Like mine has brake lights, turn lights, headlights.
Oh yeah,
everything.
We get guys driving the golf carts, but they don't have all of that. And in certain HOAs, communities, you can drive them. You're allowed to drive them.
Yeah.
I never understood the attraction of an HOA. I mean, a bunch of people just telling me what I have to have around my house and how it has to look.
It's ridiculous.
Horrible idea.
You're paying them to mow your lawn, but you're paying them forever. And they make all these rules. Your house has to be a certain color. You can't put up a flag.
Yeah.
You can't fly a quad.
Yeah. When we moved to the States, that was one thing we said: no HOAs. Never, never, never.
All for the joy of having them mow your lawn. That's about it. I don't see what any other benefit you could possibly get from them.
Oh, that's right. Everyone, please hit the like button. Thomas O'Sullivan just reminded me. Not that I really mind.
Oh yeah. Well, let me go over to the chat. There we go.
Hold on. Let me hammer that like button. Boom. Boom.
You and more than you. That what Mars reckons is you should supercharge the sucker. 110 miles an hour, no worries.
That'll be on TV.
Well, you know what's going to happen? In the next few years, you're going to have scooter drag racing.
Yeah. Now
they're going to have them souped up and going. Some guy is going to be driving a suit with a helmet, and he's going to be doing 140 miles an hour in a quarter mile.
Just to clarify something for me, Rick. Sorry, Paul. You know, Rick asked just before I left Claude's stream and opened this one so the guys could join. He asked whether the Mavic 2 Dual had Zoom. Now, my understanding is it does not. That's correct, and the standard Enterprise does. Correct.
The standard Enterprise has a little bit better zoom than the regular zoom. It's like another millimeter or so, but yeah. The Enterprise. I asked Bill, the drone reviewer, to check with his contacts because they have contacts within DJI, and I said I would hope that they're going to come out with a Enterprise Duo Zoom, which would actually set the world on fire.
They're going to be hard pressed getting it in the housing. With they've got the thermal, and it's a very low res thermal.
Oh, that's ridiculous! That lepton sensor.
Yeah, it's not good, and a lot of those little ones are 160 pp, and it's not really usable. Oh, look, you can find heat sources under a canopy. Yep. That'd be okay for search and rescue.
Search and rescue. Yep, that's it.
So you sold your Dual today?
Yeah, I shipped it today. I might have sold it too cheap because I put it on eBay yesterday about 3 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock it was gone. So.
Yeah,
boom.
But what value do you put on just having it out of your hair? Because sometimes things can hang around.
I haven't been flying it. You're right.
How about your other two Enterprises? You going to sell them as well?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I don't like about the Enterprise, which I like the fact that you can do all that stuff with it. It's got the speaker and all of that kind of cool stuff. Yeah. But what I don't like is it uses the pilot app. And I don't like
that's what I like least is the app. I don't know why they didn't just recode the Go4 app to support it as well, because it already supports multiple birds, so they could have done it. I think it was just a case of being different for being different's sake.
Well, I had somebody from DJI. I called them up and asked them, and they says, "Well, it's because of with the Enterprise, you got to be able to tap on, and you can turn the lights up, lights down. It's got an extra icon and all that kind of stuff. And if you go to use the speaker, you can record additional messages, or you can record instantly and all of that kind of stuff. And you can turn the strobe lights on and off."
Yeah, but you think about it, Paul. Even the standard ranges of drones, like Go4 supports Spark, Air. Pro, 2 Zoom. Now, some of them have a fixed lens, some of them had a zoom lens, some of them have fixed focus, some have adjustable focus, and the app quite happily switches between each of them natively. So I think they could have done it if they'd have wanted to.
Yeah. Well, I'm halfway tempted. I've told Michael to get his money together, and I'd sell him this Enterprise Zoom. because I can see Michael with the speaker on there talking to people on top of buildings.
Yeah, can you see him going to the rooftop
Dinner.
restaurant where the woman took
Yeah.
a selfie? You know, because if he'd have been able to talk back to that woman that day, he would have. Can you imagine the look on people's face when they hear him speaking out of it?
That plus he could tell the whole world, hey, if you want to see this live right now, take out your phones and go to Philly Drone Life on YouTube.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
That would be really funny.
If anyone needs that feature, that's Michael.
Yep.
Yeah. The only thing that worries
Oh.
me, you know, I don't want to say this in live stream, but as I said, I'm pretty sure I could pass a US 107. I know the rules there fairly well, and there are times when I watch what he's doing and I cringe because over here, CASA actually trolls through the social media. They bust more people over here that way than any other way.
Really?
Yeah. And I think to myself, God, I hope the FAA in America don't go trolling through stuff.
Here's the interesting part, Harry. He was not too long ago investigated by both the FBI and the FAA, and they cleared him of everything.
What were they
What
investigating
the hell?
for, though?
What's that?
What were the actual suspicions? What were they thinking of charging him with?
They thought that he was flying recklessly. But I tell you who else jumped in. The city of Philadelphia likes him because Michael is trending worldwide, showing Philadelphia in a positive light.
See, over here,
Wow.
they're so anal. If you're flying over the top of a person, like technically it's the same in the US. You cannot fly over persons. But obviously over there, they have the sense to, how can I put it? They're more focused on the spirit of the law rather than the letter of the law. Over here, no way. There are no exemptions for anybody.
And different FAA people, I've seen different lectures, and what they talk about over here, Ari, is hovering more than flying. If you hover over a person and they extend their arms out, that's their space. But if you're off to the side or whatever, they don't consider that flying over a person.
Yeah, over
Nice.
here,
That's amazing.
even if you pass over them for the briefest 1 millisecond, they consider, oh, it could have stopped just at that millisecond and hit them.
Yeah.
But, I don't want a drone with a speaker. I want a drone with AMRAAM missiles.
guns.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with guns.
yeah,
You
that's
do
it.
know we have these, Ari. You do know, right?
Yeah, well, mate, maybe I need to come to Israel, next year in Jerusalem, my friend.
You can see here everything you really want because we have both of the sides, both of the conflict sides are using quadcopters right now. The Israeli military is using
Oh my God.
quadcopters to release tear gas and stuff like that because every Friday we have the I don't know how to say it in English and how to say it in Hebrew, but basically in Gaza we have protests on the fence, like when they actually go to the border. Yeah. So these are really violent protests, and they kind of didn't know what to do to get these guys off the fence because they were shooting at you. So they kill you if they can see you. So what they did, they started using, I think it was a matrice quadcopter, and they have. I showed them the Canadian drone hub pictures of it.
It's the matrice aggro, where they can fill them up with chemicals and spray those as they go over the crowd.
Yep.
Yeah, and they use it, and I have some crazy videos of these quads basically dispersing into like 200, 300 people are getting tons of shit on their face. And the other side has guns. So in Gaza, they already have like the M600. I forgot the name of the model. That's the same one, right?
Yeah.
Matrice 600. Yep.
So they have it with guns. I'll try to find the photo, but both sides, by the way, are losing them like crazy. I mean, whenever these quads go up, they get jammed. They are losing them like freaking crazy. You can see on the borders of Gaza, like these 10 matrices every day on the floor.
When it comes to war, it's always been a bottomless checkbook. They can call it whatever they want. They can call it a police action, an uprising, whatever. It's a bloody war, man. It's a war.
I know that Svi has to be careful what he says, but I find it very interesting that Svi is like all Israelis. He's in the military as well, and he's in the Air Force. So I envision Svi over there flying those things.
I shut my mouth now, Paul. Obviously I'm Jewish. I made the mistake at my mother's funeral of opening my mouth, and what I said wasn't particularly damning. I can't remember the exact words, but I said something along the lines of I wasn't particularly comfortable with some of the things I saw being done in the occupied territories by the Israeli forces. And look, there's people in every armed force who push it too far. And I was literally sent to Coventry by the community here. I got phone calls and abused and everything like that. So. It's bad.
These are the matrice with these are all in Gaza, by the way. I mean, all these photos are like generic. If you do a generic search like matrice quadcopter Gaza and stuff, you'll see them. But these are all like pictures of these matrice drones.
Yeah,
that's
the old mechanism. Yeah. We have a lot of crazy shit going on, but I think after the last conflict, like last week, things are gonna be quieter because both sides are really fucking tired. I mean, nobody really knows what the fuck we are fighting about anyhow. And even the Gaza people, they just wanna like get enough money for food and stuff.
Yeah.
And they still remember the days. I mean, my mother was visiting Gaza almost every week because we used to do shopping there. And nowadays, you just get killed by the same people. So it's insane.
There's a few hardcore on each side who just won't let it be. Nobody has a clue on what to do. And if somebody does get a clue, they kill him.
Well, do you still have groups like Hamas?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the governing organization. And until they change that with something that's hopefully going to be better, maybe then you can talk to them. Because nowadays, funny thing is, my entire family are lefties and they are not right wing. That means that they want peace, no matter what. So they can give their house to the Palestinians, just they want peace. So they were the kind of people who left Gaza. Like 20 years ago when we left Gaza. Basically, Israel isn't in Gaza anymore. When you're talking about the occupied territories, you are talking about my house because I live in the occupied territories.
Right. That explains. So, well, I'm glad it's not me. It could have been. My family left Germany just before the war in 1923. And by the time the war was over, my grandfather was in classified research in Great Britain, and he came out here to work at Woomera Rocket Range. So we didn't move to Israel like a lot of the other family members did.
How large a space are we talking about with the occupied territory? How many miles?
You have like basically you have two sides. The two sides of Israel is gonna be. I mean, when you look at Palestine, basically Palestine doesn't exist. As of now, Palestine is basically an idea that the Palestinian people have invented. But let's say if you went back to 1967, you have the this was the last agreement in which you could make peace with the Israelis and the Palestinians. And then you had the Gaza Strip, which is over here on this side, and you have this huge area over here, which is the West Bank. So I live over here, by the way. I live in the dead center Palestinian area over here. So that's like, that's not any place you want to live in. So anyway.
So someone's playing music. Someone's got music running.
I have no idea.
Coming from Asgard.
Yeah. It's Hugh. I've muted you. I've muted you, Hugh. You'll have to unmute yourself. Are you on a kibbutz, Svi?
No, there is no kibbutz because this entire area this is where the shit happens. So I'm not living in Israel. I'm basically living in Palestine.
Within the dotted lines, right?
Aren't you concerned?
Yeah. So beyond the dotted lines, this is where you call. You see all the news talking about. Usually, it's either in Gaza or here. So this is basically Palestine, occupied territories. The problem is that where I live, for example, we have really good relationships with the local Palestinians. So when you usually look at the news, they are saying that we have a conflict with them, and then they show Gaza. Now, Gaza has been left alone there isn't a single Israeli here in Gaza. If he was there, he would be dead already.
Yeah.
And this is where you see all the violence. The only times you see violence in my area is where someone from Gaza has a family and travels over to that side and then does all that shit.
Yeah. So I was going to ask how well you got on with your neighbors.
I have a good relationship with them. I'll just show you what I mean. Basically, where I live is over here. This is like dead center, the Samaria area. And in this area, you have around 200,000 Jewish people living between 2 million Palestinians. And they have a huge city over here, by the way. And Paul, I was talking with you regarding the KFC.
Yep.
I was wanting to buy the other day. So that exists here. So I have to get the KFC from that place to this place.
But
How far is that?
That would be a suicide mission, right?
Yeah, that's like 10 kilometers. But if I would go anywhere near this place, there's a place called Urif. That's a no man's land. If you go there, you die even if you are a Palestinian. I mean, that place is a war zone. So I don't know where is it on the map, but basically there is an area over here which is a very problematic place to be in. This area over here is where Israel is probably going to take a bite of the Palestinians hopefully soon to be exist country, because this place is entirely Jewish right now, this entire area. You can say we conquered it, but we don't really conquer things because this place is full with employment for the Palestinians. They are basically working here. It's insane. They have so many industries that involve Palestinians, and actually we have 25% of the Palestinians living in the entire area working under direct Israeli
Employment.
employment. So if you take out all the Israelis, for example, all the lefties, my family consists of a lot of lefties, and they were like, "Yeah, we have to leave the West Bank," and I was like, "Yeah, I can leave the West Bank, but you do know that they're gonna get like 25% unemployment rate the moment we leave it, because we are basically hiring these guys, and this is direct employment. This is not like." I mean, if you lose the 25% direct employment, you're going to lose 50% because these people have to eat and so on.
I take it from the way you're talking, Svi, that personally you support the Palestinians having a nation of their own, a state of their own.
I think that in the end, this is this must happen, because these guys, they will never start fighting. And they do have a right to have a state. The problem is they will offer the state like 7 times now. I mean, they refused every time. I'll show you the list. Like times Palestinians refused.
I think the sticking point. Well, there's a lot of them, but the big sticking point, of course, is Jerusalem.
I mean, they even got offered half of Jerusalem already. They said no to that. So this is a list that shows you every time the Palestinians refuse the state. Basically, you got obviously the initiation of Israel in 1947. The UN wanted to give them like half of Israel or even more, and even large an Arab state than what Israel was.
When the British left Palestine, they basically handed over everything, all the infrastructure, all the key points, all the arms to the Palestinians. It was politically more worth Britain's while to see the Palestinians in control. Yeah.
And by the way, even now, the last conflict we had like last week, we started to talk to them. I mean, the government obviously started to talk to them about a long-term peace agreement. But what happens is they never accept that because they are making so much money off the conflict. They just got $500 million from Qatar just from last week because they need to fix everything that Israel has damaged them.
Look at that.
None of that makes it to the people, though. None of that makes it to the men on the street.
Yeah. Look at 2008. Prime Minister Ehud Olmert offered the withdrawal of almost the entire West Bank. That means I'm not going to have a house and even a part of Jerusalem, and they freaking said no to that. They have been saying no to everything up until this day. And
so they just want war?
they don't want war. The government, the guys they put in charge, they are extremists. It's like I would put on the Israeli government an extremist right wing. We had one of these right now, but we are not putting these guys in charge, and they are doing the other thing. They are putting the extremists in charge, and the Palestinian guy on the street, he wants peace. He wants to have the ability to actually, do business with Israelis, with Jewish people, and this will never happen if you have the extremists.
Yeah, I'm
I,
glad
I'll
you
give
said
you,
that.
I'll give you a
I'm
funny example because I started saying that my most of my family are lefties. They live in Tel Aviv in the entire area, and
How many extremists are we really talking about in a number wise? Compared to
in Gaza Strip, you got at least 50,000 militants that are directly organized as Hamas. This is 50,000, and these are militants. That means that they have guns and so on. Um, And I just want to say, some many lefties that I know that at least have an idea of what we should give the Palestinians, and they want to give them everything. Basically, they once we left Gaza, lefties also have agenda that is towards um, gay people, and they were saying that there are a lot of gay people also in the Gaza Strip. There are many gay Palestinians, and once we left Gaza, this is something you'll never hear from nobody, especially lefties. They threw more than 1,000 gay people off the roofs of the buildings.
yeah,
They
yeah,
freaking killed them.
yep.
They,
They're
these are,
very,
and I
very.
was like, Jesus Christ, the religion doesn't even say anything. But you kill your own freaking people, and because there was no, in Israel there is a military law in these areas. Even now, Palestine has military law, Israeli military law. So you can't kill nobody, even
Yeah,
if you are a Palestinian.
I know what you're saying. Look, that's. I was born in a Muslim country. I was born in Malaysia, and so I know what that's like, and that's basically why I wouldn't come to Israel now. I wouldn't want my children to have to live under that situation. And for the rest of you, when Svi says lefties, I'm pretty sure that's what you guys call a Republican. Like Trump's current mob,
Yeah,
what we call Labor, and conservatives,
yeah,
right
but
wing.
Democrats.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
yeah. I think right wing is the other side. The guys who want to do like a more aggressive, let's say.
But anyway, it's never been solved, and probably never going to be. I'm glad I'm not you, Svi. I hope you've got a load of really big guns. Is all I can say.
I was asked by Paul a long time ago, why the hell am I even here? Because I basically live in the West Bank. That basically says something political, even without me opening my mouth. And I actually live in the West Bank because that's the only place I can live within a budget. Because
Right.
living anywhere in Tel Aviv is gonna cost you around $1 million US for a 3-bedroom apartment.
Oh
Wow.
my!
So yeah, so that's like 20 minutes off Tel Aviv. That's going to be the price. And this is because Israel is a very rich country. So I'm not that rich, and I live where I can buy a house. I just bought a house like a couple of months ago
Yeah.
for around 300,000 US. But the only place you can buy a house at that budget is going to be in the West Bank. So that's the reason I'm basically political, because I just want to live without dying off just making so much money and not finishing the month.
Now, could any of those accords? Well, actually, you already said yes. If there is an accord, you could be thrown out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's why we had the elections on April, and basically I had to vote for someone who I don't really believe in, but I know he's gonna keep my house.
Right.
He's a crazy motherfucker. You would never vote for this guy. But I'm like, that guy's gonna keep. I'm gonna have the house after he gets
Well, he's
elected.
not
But
giving
he
away the
didn't.
West Bank. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
He,
basically voted for status quo versus change.
no, actually, because the status status quo was the Benjamin Netanyahu. He's the guy who's currently running things. So I even voted for someone even more extremist because I wanted to have a bit more. For example, we have military law. We don't have. This place doesn't have the Israeli government in control. It has military martial law. That means that when I fly my drones, I need to get military permissions to do that. And that's a shitload of problems you don't want to go into. So I want to have some kind of government in my area that's not militarized. That's the
Yeah,
guy I
because
voted for.
you're living in government rule versus freedom of your own government.
Yeah. I mean, I that's going to be disadvantages to that because I'm paying really nothing for everything right now because I'm in a militarized zone. But in the end, I want to live in a normal area, and not the.
Mark and all the chatters sitting there listening to this, probably rolling their eyes. I know that this conversation would be deemed political in some of the other channels and might not be allowed. But to me, it's not political. This is more like social studies. I'm interested in it from an academic point of view.
I'm not really saying what's going to be good or bad over here. I'm just giving you the perspective of someone who's basically on one side of the story.
It's really good to hear from you because I'm sure it's the same for the guys in the US, and it is here. All we hear is what the news media want to tell you, not what it really is.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what makes me, as I've gotten older, that's one of the most significant changes I've noticed. When I was a kid, the news media used to tell you what happened and let you decide what to think. Now they report what part of what happens they want you to know about, and they tell you what to think.
I mean, people for example, the last conflict, usually CNN, which is the most anti-Israeli website on the world right now, and even CNN was like, cut the shit. I mean, we don't really, cut the bullshit. Nobody wants another conflict. They were like, they made an article for the first time. They were saying like something like Palestinians should stop shooting missiles. And I was like, this is CNN. I mean, that's like, these are the guys who are basically all the time are anti-Israeli, but they even they don't give a shit anymore. And nobody really gives a shit about the conflict anymore because it's the same thing every couple of months. And I just, maybe it's going to be, in the end, someone's going to be so freaking tired of this bullshit and it's going to end, hopefully. Because when you talk about, I told Roger on Canadian Drone Hub, someday I'm just going to take a video of me just walking out the house, just showing you guys how it looks like. Because I fixed my car in a Palestinian shop. There's a Palestinian guy basically fixing my car.
Mm-hmm.
So we do business with them, and when you go to the low level, to the place where you meet, where people meet each other, you see that we get along.
Well, your neighbors.
How would you know who's Palestinian?
What?
If you're walking down the street, how do you know a Palestinian between a Jew?
There's a big difference. He doesn't talk the way you talk. Like I have an accent right now, as you can see.
Right.
But there's also, he looks different.
Are they covered, Shvi? Are the females covered in the Muslim?
Yeah.
Oh,
You almost never see a Muslim woman walking by. These guys are very, these women, they have strict laws. You see the men. Usually you see just the men.
I saw something the other day that made me stop. I was down at a little country town near me called Logan Village, where I was doing some footage of an abandoned railway, and opposite me was a little hotel that was founded in 1883, which by Australian standards that's pretty old. And I'm looking at the sign there, and I saw this woman walking up the driveway into the bottle shop, and she was in a full burqa. That's something you don't. I looked at that, and thought, well, that's something you don't see every day.
I'm scared shitless when I see these.
I'm sorry, what was that, Paul?
Your camera's not working, Ari.
Oh, yeah, of course. I had my daughter walk in here in her night gear, so yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. Hello, Claude. We've got Claude in the house again. What, no cars to drive, my friend?
I wasn't driving. I said that. I had to cook supper.
I wasn't in the chat when you said that. I'm sorry, mate. My mistake.
Well, you better be.
You know, the only thing I remember being taught in school about that was the 10-Day War in 1959. So, as far as I know, it's been going on for 60 years over there.
Been going
Well,
on for 1,000 years.
10-Day War was in the 60s, wasn't it?
6-day.
I thought it was 59.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is the 10-day war.
Yeah, I
know
was
the
thinking
6-day war.
too many days, mate. The Israelis don't take 10 days to beat the shit out of the Arabs.
The 10-day war is from 91. It's Slovenian war. We had a 6-day war.
That was 6 days. Okay, my days were off.
The 6 days was crazy. I mean, basically, it's a huge story here. You hear about it all the time because we got attacked from everywhere. And in the end, we did get peace with most of the attackers. But again, you look at who we made peace with, and you see that these are countries that have logical sense in terms of they really want to have peace. I mean, Egypt has peace with Israel. They are the guys that make all of the Gaza relations when we have problems with them. And we have peace with Jordan. I could actually go to Jordan. But then you see countries like Syria, and nobody can make peace with them.
People don't understand that, Svi. One of the safest places in the world for a Jew, not necessarily in Israeli, there is a difference, but one of the safest places for a Jew to go in the world is Iran. They have one of the largest Jewish populations in the world, and they are protected very, very strongly under Iranian law.
At my Marine Corps base, we used to train Israeli pilots. For years, they used the A4s and all that. So I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm an A4 air crew.
Yeah, see, I used to work on the Skyhawks.
You wouldn't have been alive in '67, would you, Svi?
No, but we actually were still using them up until like 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's a very good attack aircraft.
Yeah, we are not using it for attacks. We're using it for all the other missions, like support missions, because we don't have all the other planes that you have in the US, for example.
Well, I'd never come to bloody Ireland, Thomas. Hang on, I'll mute it. You see this standing beside me, guys? That's 15. Just bend down. Bend down, say hello.
That's huge.
Yeah. All right, mate. See you later. Change out of that shirt, you scrag. He's going to bloody school. Yeah, that's my little guy. I'm 6'4", and he's probably about 2 inches away now. Yeah.
You never can let up being a dad, Ari.
I love it, Paul. I never set out to be a foster father. I got my first girl. She was a friend of my daughter. They went to school, and she comes from a tragic background. She ended up on the street with no family, nowhere to go, and I took her in. And then within 6 months, I had another boy, and I managed to repatriate him back to his family just before Christmas. And within a week, I had another young lad. He calls me Papa, and I find it very rewarding. That doesn't mean I don't want to kill them sometimes, but I love it.
That's par for the course, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Look, we all come into this world and we leave it, and within a few years, we don't leave anything behind. Everyone wants to think that they have a legacy, but unless you're somebody very special, you don't. My legacy is the kids.
Yeah.
That's a good legacy. That's the best one you can have, man.
Yeah. We tried for Leanne and I tried for 17 years, and then we lost our daughter, our firstborn, and they told us to give up. And we were I was 40 and Leanne was 41 when we finally hit pay dirt with Spud. And nowadays I say to my wife, "Yeah, we tried for 17 years, went through all of that. What the hell were we thinking of?"
Practice, right?
Yeah. Anyway, that was it. Come on, Claude, say something.
Oh, I am. I'm saying in the chat. I'm trolling right now.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm looking
Don't forget to press on the dislike button, Claude.
Oh, okay. I
Hey,
can do
hey,
that.
hey, Svi, I was wondering, what aircraft do you train in now?
I'm kind of an old guy, so I'm not doing any flights anymore, sadly.
He's in the
Yeah, but
reserve.
don't,
How
don't,
old
they
are you?
don't they want to keep you old guys flight ready just in case?
Yeah, we have we have different positions. You basically have the management guys and stuff like that. So I'm basically moving up the ladder. You're doing less of the groundwork.
So you're out there telling them to get their ass in the air, right?
Yeah, I click a couple of buttons with the computer, and somebody else does the job.
Man,
On the days that you hear about Israeli aircraft being shot down by friendly fire, those are the days that Svi's running the Iron Dome.
That's cold-blooded.
It is. All right. I take the piss out of everybody.
I kind of missed an opportunity to visit the Iron Dome. I really wanted to do that, and I had the opportunity to go there when it was actually firing missiles, but I missed the opportunity, sadly.
Is it as good as we get told? Because all we hear is in the media, it's bulletproof.
It's amazing. But the problem with that is that even the Palestinians figured out a way to beat the Iron Dome on the last conflict. That's how they got 5 Israelis killed. They are basically shooting huge bursts of missiles. And even when you have so many Iron Domes like you have right now in Israel, they can't keep up. And
if you've got 200 incoming, you just can't knock out 200. That's right.
It took the Palestinians 10 years to figure that out.
Holy crap, Ari! You got 2 thumbs down.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm the first one, and you are the second one, Claude.
Shh! Don't tell him that.
The only problem is I've got that disabled. So
no. There, I took it away.
Oh, if I haven't got it disabled, feel free to just hello, Brad. There's a link there oh no, you'd be at work, wouldn't you?
I'm gonna click on the like button for you, Ari. I haven't clicked on it. I wasn't actually subscribed to your channel for some reason. Maybe YouTube's removing my subscriptions. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I heard about that. It happened to me the first time last week.
Yeah.
I found somebody that I had definitely subscribed to that I wasn't anymore.
I'm pretty sure I was subscribed to your channel. I'm pretty sure.
I unsubscribed.
I see, Ari. I was just looking too. They unrung my bell because it was rung before.
Yep.
Ari, you're a superstar. You have 16 people watching you, man.
Oh wow, that's a record. You know, it's as I said in chat to Val earlier on. After my first live stream, I doubled my watch hours. I would like to say that's because I had a really awesome live stream, but the truth is it's because I've got a sucky channel.
Okay, everybody.
It's not a sucky channel. You just got to kick off. Nothing wrong with that.
So you're taking the pity votes? Is that what you're talking about?
I will unashamedly take the pity votes, just like I have with the women all my life. I mean,
okay, everybody, give him all thumbs down then.
Yeah,
it's all analytics.
I gotta go. It's like 1 a.m. After midnight, and I have a busy day tomorrow. It's been very, very nice. Thank you very much for hosting.
What time is it over there?
It's like 1 o'clock.
Svi, what time is it?
It's 1 after midnight.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna go get a shower and go sleep. I just want to thank you, Claude, for hosting the last live show, and you, Ari, for this one, and everyone else on the panel and the chat.
It's been my pleasure.
God bless Canada and the US.
Svi, it's always
and Australia.
And you stay safe, my friend.
Shalom, Svi.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, his tag is Rotor Deal, right?
Yeah. Correct. Yep. He's a good guy. I wouldn't have the guts to live. Well, if it was just me, I could live where he is, but I wouldn't take my family there.
Yeah, same here, Ari.
Now, who was that other guy we saw? Did you, Claude, you saw the Traveling Clat, I think his name was? Was that you that was on there with me? Or, darn it, I don't know whether it was on Mark's channel, Centroid's channel, or Poose's, where he goes traveling back and forth between here and Israeli, and he's taken like a container ship ride over and filmed that and put that up. Well, he makes it sound like it's no big deal, and now we hear the real side of it.
It's no big deal when you're living in the borders of Israel proper, but when you're living out in the what is effectively the occupied territories, it's a big deal.
Right.
I mean, it's all right for Zvi to say that he has a great relationship with his neighbors, and he probably does. But his neighbors all have a better relationship with their relatives who live in Gaza than they have with him. And you know, if it got dirty.
Hey, Ari, I just noticed
Yep.
something.
Yep.
Yes, cool.
Rotor Deal doesn't have a wrench.
He does now.
Oh, okay.
I noticed that too. I ticked it for him just before he left.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're good then.
Yep. So I've although it goes against my my previous experience running the games service, where you jealously guarded moderator status, I've done what is normal within the drone community, and unless I don't know them, I give everybody a wrench.
The only way I don't do wrenches is if I go to their site and check it out, and if they have nothing on there, I will not give them a wrench.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I've only seen one or two people come in so far that I didn't already know from one of the other channels.
Well, I'd be careful of that Paul guy. He's pretty shitty looking.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
Fella.
The master of
Yeah.
maritime, the sultan of ships.
Well, he hasn't had he hasn't had his brownie fix either. So you know.
Oh, I got a fresh batch of brownies this morning, and I've been chowing.
Oh, okay. We're good then. Thank God.
Yeah, I don't want any. I don't want any merch, Paul. I just want your brownies.
Philly commented on my last live stream.
Yep.
Take care, Mark.
So
Thanks for dropping in.
So he's running around somewhere. Philly is.
Oh, Philly, he's become so busy in the last 2 weeks. It seems like much longer, but yeah, he's really taking it and running, and good on him too.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm gonna drop out of here. I just spotted a ship that's downbound, and I think I'm gonna go get it. The weather changed; it's blue skies and real high stratus clouds and sunshine. I think I'm gonna go try and get it.
All right, mate. Take care.
Yeah, you better do it, Paul, because over here it's cloudy.
Yeah, and I see off to the west it's cloudy. So you know what happened to me the other day, Claude, is I busted my butt and went down there. Just as I got down there, the clouds rolled in. So
yeah,
but we'll see. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us, Paul. Take care.
Take care,
You bet. Bye.
Well, now we've got a smaller crowd. Anybody who wants to join us from the chat, feel free. I'll put the link in there again to save you scrolling back for it.
Get Brent on here. He'll come on.
And if I'm being quiet, it's just because I'm multitasking. I'm trying to put together this 1 year anniversary video.
Multi-failing. That's what I do. I don't multitask. I multi-fail.
You decided what it's going to be?
Well, I'll let you know tomorrow when it comes out. You know what I mean? Like, I'll edit it, I'll change it, I'll throw it away, I'll start again. That's what's going to happen, right?
Well, Paul's got the light, huh? He can look out the window and see if a ship's coming.
No, he has a program on his computer.
Oh,
he can track. He showed it to us one day. I looked it up, and he has a program where he can see what ships are when they're coming and how long it'll take him to get to them and everything. So that's how he does it. So
that's like
there. Okay.
I'm just sitting here too. See, I got a newsletter from Patreon. I've just seen all the crap I got, so nothing important. So back to the chat. So yeah,
Ari, do you see that question? Did we lose Ari again?
his cameras. He might be talking to one of his kids or something.
Yeah, they were getting ready for school.
How much about the new license? And Hey, has anybody seen? It's all over. The new DJI Action Cam. Have you actually seen? There's more pictures coming up.
I saw the Osmo Sport.
Yep. Yep, it was on. If you do, I did Google, and it comes up on there, different views of it.
I don't know why they would want to go after GoPro, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand either. But
Well, it's just kind of a natural extension for them because it's a big market, and they're already making cameras that do a lot of the same things, right? So it's just one more piece that they can get of the pie and take it away from GoPro.
Well, answer me this, Hugh. If it's such a big market, why has GoPro come close to going into receivership last year?
I don't know, but it is a big market because you can see the number of players that have come in, like the smaller players. So, I mean, GoPro's probably got, I don't know, who knows, 60% of the market or something huge like that, right? And then you've got all these other little players that are kind of filling in and, making crappy copies and stuff like that.
The size of the market, I don't think, really addresses the profitability of the market. And
That's important, obviously, yeah.
AI goes, why they're into it, it's an easy answer. I don't think really addresses the profitability of the market.
Oh, it's Rick.
Rick,
Rick's got to mute his YouTube.
Okay, I muted you, Rick. You've got a web browser running in the background. Shut the volume off and then unmute yourself. When it comes to
Wait, I'm sorry, Artie.
Go for your life.
I just looked it up. Whoops, I got to find the actual camera. Here we go. Right there it is. It's on the YouTube. It's on Google if you search for it now.
Yep.
It brings it up. So
it comes down to how much money does DJI want, and the answer, of course, is all of it.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean, that's the premise behind business. It's continuous, illogical expansion. It's fundamentally unsustainable, but that's capitalism in action. There's no such thing as stasis. It's growth or death.
Well, I tell my kids, in communism, man exploits man, and in capitalism, it's the other way around.
Listen, I thought GoPro had the right idea when they tried to make that Karma. You had the action cam already in there with the right. You just pull it out.
Exactly. Brilliant.
I don't know why they should have made that thing work.
I wish they had it, and it would have been nice for them to have something competitive to DJI. I love DJI products. Don't get me wrong, but I hate seeing such a consolidation in the market because it just messes with competition, right? It's just not healthy.
There is a lot of restrictions on DJI products. I have to tell you, the higher you go, because I know that there are times when I can't take off just because a plane might be within 5 miles of me. I don't know if you guys have that same thing, but as the Matrice 600s and the 200s and all that, they have the ADS-B receivers in them.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. No.
And I can't take off.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I've disabled a number of them. I don't own a Matrice, but I've disabled several for other pilots, and that's their business. It's not really fully implemented here in Australia anyway, and it's not legislatively enforced, so that's it. But as far as the companies go, as consumers, it's in our best interest to see the market as diverse as possible. So much so that I'm probably going to go and buy my first non-DJI drone shortly, as soon as I can afford. Not necessarily because I want to get away from geofencing or anything like that, simply because I probably should put a few dollars into the opposition.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah. DJI are on top of the heap now, but that doesn't mean that they'll be there in 5 years' time. How many companies have we seen that we thought would never fall?
Nortel, the company I used to work for, it was considered Canada's crown jewel. They figured that if Nortel fell, the Toronto Stock Exchange would collapse. Didn't happen.
Yep.
Nortel
GoPro is too dear, and I agree. And the whisper is, I haven't heard any figures mentioned, But the whisper is that the new DJI action cam is actually going to undercut GoPro's current. I think it's the GoPro 7, or is it the 8, the current one? I believe it's going to undercut it by a reasonable figure, I've heard.
Where DJI gets you is in the accessories.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So they're a bit like Apple and all the other companies. Every new model they introduce new connectors, so you've got to buy it all over again.
But I gotta say, I'm totally a DJI fanboy. I mean, the product is just so goddamn good. When I got
they're the best show in town right now.
What's that?
They're the best show in town right now. I can't argue.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for camera drones, we're not talking like FPV drones or other things. But
how long do you think it's going to be before we see DJI FPV drones?
I think they already have one in limited production in partnership with somebody. But yeah, I think they'll have a mainstream one on their website someday soon.
I was wondering,
I love that.
How did they leave the drone teams alone? Drone Racing League and all that?
Yeah.
In that.
DJI are to drones what the Borg are to Star Trek.
Yeah. Or Apple, right? I mean, really.
Yeah.
The iPhone.
But
again,
that's another think that Apple are invincible, but in my lifetime, Apple have reigned, fallen almost to the point of bankruptcy, and then raised again.
Exactly. Yeah. With the help of Bill Gates. If it wasn't for Bill Gates' cash infusion, that would have been the end of Apple back in the day.
Okay, Rick. Rick's still got feedback even when he mutes everything. That almost sounds like a hardware issue, like an earthing problem on your mic lead. That's assuming you're using an external mic. Have you tried the good old standby of restarting your system?
Hit the red button.
That's it. Or you can shoot it.
Take your glass of water out of the cup holder on the computer.
That's cruel.
Drone landscapes. I agree with you, DJI Assistant.
I'm teasing, Rick. I love you, buddy.
Yes, although I've got my new Mavic Air sitting beside me, which it arrived yesterday in the mail from DJI to replace my other one, which had 3 batteries on it, and then had failed to restart after upgrading the firmware with the DJI Go 4 app. So I can tell you that when I power this one up, and once its firmware updated, I'm doing it with the DJI Assistant this time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, I'll tell you something, Ari. It's a whole different story when you're holding up a 10-pound aircraft because it slid around in the back of the car, and all of a sudden you have to move it around this DJI plate to get the vision sensors calibrated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You've got to take a lot of volume to be able to hold that thing up and then go to the left like this and go to the right and up and down.
Well, on the bigger drones, it's hard to lift up. The smaller ones, you do it on a computer screen and move the drone around. But when you've got the big ones, it's harder to move the drone around, so you use the plate.
It's an insanely archaic. And all it did was slide around in the back of the car from one side to the other. That's how delicate.
Hang on, let me see if I can do a Roger. Good day, Nanya. Anyway, mate, there's a link in the chat if you want to join in on the panel. Drone landscape. I have been trying to calibrate my Mavic Pro sensors for 3 weeks. Still no go. You're not the only one. I have managed to avoid calibrating any of.
Uh-oh.
We
locked out. Yeah, I saw a guy. Was it 616 drone? Was that him? Are you back, Ari?
I'm here, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, you locked up a second ago.
It would have just been a link issue, I would imagine.
You were talking about calibrating? Go ahead.
Yeah, I've managed to avoid it. I don't want to go there. I know a lot of people have had problems, and I haven't had to calibrate any of my image systems at this point, and I don't want to.
Yeah, nor have I, luckily.
Yeah, if you don't have to, don't do it. Unless it tells you you have to do it. Stay the hell away from it.
I don't even calibrate my compass or my IMU unless I'm prompted to. As a matter of fact, I calibrated my Phantom 4 when I did my first Phantom 4, when I did the dam videos the weekend before last, and that's the first time I've ever done my compass. And it came out here from China, and I took delivery of it and unwrapped the shrink wrap on it, and it didn't prompt me to recalibrate the compass, and I didn't, and I flew it all that time without a problem.
I saw one person who still had the mainland China maps on. You know how DJ has that on the Go Forth?
Oh, that was 616. It had that when he hit it he hit his car.
Yeah,
almost hit his car.
That thing will fly back to China if you keep that on. I don't know why they have that on apps. On, they're selling them overseas. They could have a Chinese model.
I'd never heard that term, flying home to China, until I got amongst the community here. I guess if you get a drone and it's got a battery the size of a block of flats, be suspicious.
Well, it'll try to
fly back home to China.
You're not finding it. Let's put it that way. Which way is China?
I do admit that at times I worry whether I'm going to lose one, but I haven't lost one yet.
The only time I had the issue was close to the U.S. border, and I really did wonder whether there was some kind of Wi-Fi kind of gun or something pointed at my drone.
Well,
really squirrely.
Are you surprised that the drone doesn't want to enter America? No one else does. Sorry, guys, couldn't resist. Rick's going to have another go. He says, hold your ears.
Come on, Rick.
That's it.
Did you show him, Mari? Oh, there he is.
Hello?
Hey, what's up?
And can you hear us?
Gotta lower this down here. Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay, Rick, can you hear Rick?
Yeah.
Don't do that, Claude.
Hello? Hello?
I hear you, Rick.
Bye. Okay, don't let the dog in.
Claude, you're a real owner-operator, you are, mate.
Cold-blooded.
Drones is in the house. Good day, sir. And as Roger would say, there's a wrench for you. Or at least it will be when it pops up.
I keep asking for a hammer, but nobody ever wants to give me one.
Hey, Ari, you're not doing it right. If he's a new person, well, that's Metro Drone. He's cool.
That's right.
You're supposed to do your policies too.
My policies, my rules are there are no rules. No, that's not true. The only rule is no religion and be nice. If you want to discuss anything else and nobody wants to, then move on.
There you go.
Rick, you've got your YouTube page muted?
Yeah,
Just
I got to get off. I hear about 40 people talking.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I do.
Well, he's got some lag too, huh?
It could just be your link, Rick.
Yeah.
So it looks like we've got about 8 seconds between us.
Hey, I have a question. Lloyd's show, he said 7 o'clock. Is it 8 o'clock my time?
Yeah, he's more towards central US, isn't he?
Where is he?
Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
He's an Okie from Muskogee.
Oh, Oklahoma. Never mind.
Is that Central Time?
Yeah.
I keep looking for a message from him or anything with his VPN number or whatever. And
That would be, I think it's about a half an hour from now, Claude.
Okay. Because I ain't for too long. I'll get off here so I can just get ready for that. But
Jeez, it's 28 already.
It's 8:28 in the morning. I took my headphones off because the family are all awake now. And me, I'm awake. I haven't been to sleep again.
Oh, good.
Again.
Yep. It's all right. I get used to it. I get my second wind after an hour or so of my eyes dragging on the floor.
Do you crash during the day, Ari?
if I'm tired. I've learned the biggest lesson I've learned out of this issue is if my body or mind does not want to sleep, all I do is lay in the bed and look at the ceiling. So it's more productive to get up and do something.
Yeah.
When I start to feel like I could have gone to sleep at about 5 a.m., but I had other stuff I was doing, and now that's passed, so I won't even try.
Insomnia is terrible.
Yeah, well, mine's medically induced. They kept me alive for almost a year on 75 milligrams of steroids a day, and one of the side effects is it destroys your body clock, and it doesn't get better. Metro says he's going to be nice always. Well, that makes one of us. This silence was brought to you by.
Is he coming on?
Oh, I'm just reading the chat, so don't mind me.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
We're all looking at the chat. You still got 15 people watching, what I can see. So, but you don't got 15 people commenting. They need to get leave a comment in the chat if you're watching and let us know who you are, please.
Yeah, so somebody types "you suck."
Rick is hearing both the delay and the real time. How is that possible? See, the only way that would happen to me is if I'm listening to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it sounds to me like he's got both Hangouts and YouTube playing. Hey, Brad.
Yeah, because
Hello, gentlemen.
How are you today?
I'm tired, but I'm okay.
I can relate. You sound tired.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
What were you doing?
I had to go do some power site visits, and then I had a real estate shoot I had to go do.
Oh, excellent.
I hate working for real estates. I really do. I always, not just the fact that they pay crap, but they are so pushy. I often end up wanting to strangle the living shit out of them.
This was actually pretty easy. It was commercial, so I just had to shoot a strip center with a Verizon store.
Out here, shooting a strip center would mean something totally different.
That's what I was thinking.
you put three shops together, you call it a strip mall here.
Yeah, it's just a line of shops.
If you start talking amongst all of my friends about, I'm going down to the strip mall, they go, "What? You mean I can go shopping for them?"
Woohoo!
That'd be convenient.
Yeah, that's it. Oh dear, yeah, probably find Spud down there. No, I'm only joking. I tell you what, I'm worried. She's crushing on Mikey. She thinks Mikey's cute.
Oh goodness.
He's only 35 years older than she is, or 37 years, or something like that. So that's going to work out well.
No big deal, right?
Yeah, that's right. Who's going to tell his girlfriend is what I want to know.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I was going to say, I thought he was married.
I'm thinking he's married.
No, he's. I would imagine they're all almost covered. Oh wait, no, because he's living with his mother right now.
Yeah, he's living with his mum,
Okay.
and she has to come over and pick him up, is how I understand it. So she's not in the same place. Okay, Rick has only one page open. Stuff to find out.
If he only has the Google open, the Hangout.
The only thing I can suggest is that he has his microphone sensitivity turned up too far, and it's feeding back through his own microphone.
Yeah, you may have to put headphones on.
That would be a quick way to rule it out. Put the headphones on and see if it continues to happen. She was given a casual job, Tom. She's going to work again today for however many hours. She thinks that she's body every self, as my old grand would say. So that's good. That's her first job. I'm a bit concerned. She's not well enough to attend school full time, so I don't know how she's going to go. But I'm not going to hold her back. She needs a bit of a confidence boost.
That's true.
I like that shot of that drone flying into that tree branch. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll put something else on there next time. But I've got all the parts cut out, ready to make a video out of it. I just haven't done it yet.
Okay. Well, I'm going to probably back out of here because I'm waiting for Lloyd to see
Yeah.
if he's even got internet. If he doesn't, then I may
Well,
whatever.
when I see Lloyd, if I see a notification come up that Lloyd's on, I'll shut down here and everyone can raid over there.
All righty. All right,
And-
we'll do that.
You need the Hangout address from him, right?
He uses what's that?
B-Mix?
B-Mix.
I'll
So
be right back.
he has to send me a PIN number. Yeah, I'm gonna be co-hosting with him tonight.
And for everybody who hasn't heard, next Sunday US time, I'm going to host 3 hours earlier than I did last Sunday to avoid some clashes with other channels. So I'll be starting at I think 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And you guys
on Sunday?
Yeah, next Sunday. Yeah, because I started at 8 p.m. your time this time, and
so there's another show. Just so you know,
Val starts an hour before me, and so she
before that, those guys, Novice Quads and Phantom Flight 101, they have that show, and Roger sometimes goes, and Paul goes, and Val goes.
What time are they on?
5 p.m. Eastern, or 5:30 Eastern. Anyway, it's around there. It's just before Val's life, basically.
Oh,
anyway,
that's another
You
idea.
can see on Phantom Flight 101.
I don't want to jump in on Herman and geez, I can't think of the other guys' names. I don't want to jump on them. Look, there's no way I can any of us can stream without clashing with somebody.
It's harder.
I'd rather not get clashed with people that I get on with.
I know. I feel what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, don't be on when I'm on.
I streamed at 7 o'clock this morning. There was nobody on. But you know,
on in another 1 hour and 25 minutes for excess. So there we go.
Okay, Hugh. Thursday and Friday. I start at 7:30.
But you weren't there today, were you?
I won't be there till Thursday, so you're safe.
That's good. No, I'm on a regular basis.
You know what? It doesn't matter. You do what you want to do when you want to do it. People will do what they want to do too. They'll come hang out or they'll go elsewhere. So don't let it bother you. All right, just do whatever you.
Oh yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want to be difficult for them because they were here before me. And
you can't look at it that way. You got to get your views up, and you got to get known out there. So you got to do this. So most people understand. You know, if there's an overlap, no big deal. So
today's helping me. I hadn't planned to stream today, but you had to go off and suggest that I put her up, and that's good because I've got 2 days a week that I'm planning on streaming. But as sure as God made little green apples, I'm going to have a job on one of those days at some point, and I'll call on you or one of the other guys I know well to run it that day. So it works out well. We can all rely on one another.
That's exactly because you've been on almost an hour. I see your timer.
Yeah, that's. I was quite happy to put that in. Mind you, it's back to front for me. I can see it goes that way, so I've got to read it in reverse.
Yeah.
59.
Anyway, let's see here, James. I want you to take one of them Inspires sitting on that shelf behind you and send it to me.
Yeah, I've got 3 of them.
I just want one of them sent to me.
What are they? Version Inspire 1, version 2?
Inspire 1 Pros, yeah.
All right, with the RAW and the SSD.
Oh,
no,
yes. I only figured out how to change things.
Okay, I gotta go anyway, so I'll see you guys later.
All right, Claude, take care, man.
I'll see you if Floyd comes on. I don't know what's going on yet, so.
Okay, Claude, take it easy.
Yep.
Nos vemos.
See ya. Bye.
Adios.
What Claude doesn't know is there's a reason I have 3 of them.
Because they're broken.
I think you can imagine why that is.
Come on, split, James. What did you do to them?
One of them went up. It was only 26 feet. And then it hit a branch on the way up. And it did the auto rotation on the way down. So I couldn't save its life, you know? And then I said, all right, well, I'll get around to fixing that. Then another one, I'm filming a roof, and some guy came up and started, I'll say, bitching at me from the street. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. You're spying on me. Literally, you're spying on me. And a police car came up, and all of a sudden. So I'm looking at these guys, and the second one caught a gust of wind right into a tree.
Oh, no.
So I fixed that. And guess what the Inspire does? You know, when it sees the ground, it lowers its legs automatically. So it's hovering over the tree because I have to tell these people to get the hell away from me. It lowered its legs, got itself caught in the tree. So now I shut that off, the auto landing feature.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I automatically shut off on anything I do.
Well, thanks for the tip, because I bought the very last Inspire 1 version 2 available here new about only 2 or 3 months ago, and I bought it at half price, which is why
I love it.
So I haven't disabled it. I've got to get some more. So I'm not flying it commercially yet. I need more batteries and probably a second controller, which are getting hard to find over here, actually. So anyway, I know where to come for some spare parts, James.
Yeah, well, I do have the one that has the stork on it so it can drop things, and it has the lights up on top, but they're not powerful enough to really run anything.
No, I've heard that they get a little bit mushy even with the X5 on them.
Yeah, they're not powerful enough. But I saw guys who were trying to hang tactical flashlights underneath to light up for searching or whatever at night. I just gave up on it. I bought the ones from the same company that makes the stork arms that go underneath it. But it is an extremely versatile aircraft. It can do things in the air that the other birds just can't.
I don't worry about, just replying to Mark in the chat, I don't worry about turning off the bottom sensors. I can actually fly. I don't think I'll put one into the drink, but I will turn off the auto landing gear extension, that's for sure.
Yeah. At 26 feet, it starts telling you that you're near the water. Mm-hmm. I've never had a problem with them going down in the water.
Oh, look, I like the Inspire one. I've flown it only a few times. I've only got one battery in it for it currently, but I use it mostly to impress people. I think it was the first or second time I flew it. I was just buzzing around here, and there's a vacant block of land, and there was a lot of grass in it that was 5 or 6 feet tall. And I discovered by accident, by being too close to it, how well the blades cut grass. And before I knew it, I was doing 3-foot high passes through the 6-foot high grass and laughing like a maniac. Grass and seeds went everywhere. And I thought it was enormously funny until I got it home and had to clean it. Hello, Rick. You back with us? Nope, he's gone again.
Gone again.
Is delicate too.
I've got a clip of my Mavic Air just after it flew over the tips of corn stalks, and I brought the Mavic up to my DSLR camera, and the Mavic is just peppered with like green bits and pieces. It looked like it was a natural camouflage. You know, it was hilarious. just watched that again today by accident.
It is not fun trying to clean. I came home with a green Inspire with all the chlorophyll over it. It is not fun trying to clean one.
No, and when it dries, oh my goodness. Yeah,
it's hard on there.
I feel sorry for them guys that get swarmed by bees. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
yeah.
No thanks.
That's a mess.
I don't know whether you guys have noticed, but I have found whenever I'm flying over bush or something like that, there must be a particular subsonic that my Phantom in particular puts out, because if I hover it at anything less than 100 feet, the bugs come up like a cloud into it. There's something about it that attracts them.
I know I've seen a couple where was it Dustin Dunhill that was doing them? I mean, the bees were just covering his aircraft.
Yeah.
I like
Did you see the X Dynamics Evolve test that he put up? Man, he put that thing on auto takeoff. It almost flipped over.
I don't know anybody who had a thoroughly positive review of it. Everybody has found something. Billy Kyle, Ken Heron, Dustin Dunhill, they're the three that spring to mind. The only person who was moderately complimentary, and he didn't complete his three episode schedule, was Brian, Smoky Mountain Aerial. He was fairly kind towards it, but everybody else doesn't have a nice thing to say.
I mean, I'm shocked that the company released the product in the state it's in. I really am. I mean, there's just so many glaring things wrong with it that people are uncovering.
I got suspicions, Hugh. Everyone thinks it's a new drone. It's almost 2 years since they first announced it, and it's been a year since the first pre-production models became available to people.
It was 2014, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think that they announced it in 2017, and the pre-production ones were in people's hands in 2018. It's going on for 2 years now, and so it's. I think that they're feeling the pressure to release because it could be obsolete before it is released, and also I have a suspicion that they need some cash flow.
Yeah.
Well, it's $2,500, and it's got the same camera that the 2015 Inspire 1 first came out with.
Yep, the Mavic Pro, the original Mavic Pro. Look, I could live with most.
Well, it's $2,500, and it's got the same camera that the 2015 Inspire 1 first came out with.
Have you got headphones, Rick, that you can try?
No, I couldn't find my headphones, but I tried different ways and it's still messed up. So.
Well, you don't seem to have as much lag this time. You answered me straight away. And
I'm not using Chrome now. I'm just using
Hangouts.
Theoretically, you shouldn't have to use. You should be in Hangouts. That's what opens.
I normally use the earbuds, but I haven't had to right now. I've got my system volume down lower, and I don't seem to be echoing, right, Harry?
No, you're fine. You're fine. And I'm using a big microphone here and speakers, powered speakers, and it seems to work all right.
Never hear any problems with my end either?
No, you're perfect.
Okay, good.
Your audio is perfect.
Yeah.
I've never had to use anything.
I like what you said first, Ari. Come on now, don't back up.
I'm going to back out here so it doesn't mess you guys up.
You're not giving us any grief at the moment, Rick.
You're good. I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Maybe it's just me hearing it, getting the back feed.
No, you're
it's
good.
fine now.
Yes.
Yep,
So he has released another video. I did catch the beginning of it, and he's changed his attitude on a lot of things. But anyway, it's all good. It's Brian, Smoky Mountain Aerial. He's released a video today, and today he's telling us how he doesn't have the new DJI action cam, and he's not under a non-disclosure agreement, and he's telling us that's what he said from word go. So I obviously misheard during his first video, which is possible too. I'm not being funny.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the chat. I'm doing what you guys were doing.
I thought Brian said he wasn't supposed to show that cam.
I thought that's what I thought that in the first video, but as I said,
in the first video, he didn't want to show anything, and he kept saying, "I'm not supposed to show that."
Okay, yeah, I thought that was, but I hadn't slept for a bit when I saw those. I'd stayed up all night and watched them, and often I watch so many videos in 24 hours that I start to get confused over who said what.
I know what you mean.
Love my drones. Welcome to the house. I'll pop the link in case you want to join us on the panel. There it is.
Yeah, I don't like when YouTube tells me how much I've watched during the day. It kind of scares me.
I never look at that. Later on, when I'm finished here, I've got to clear my the back of my bench behind the notebook because I'm using the notebook screen. And outside of here in the hallway, I have a 65-inch 4K television, 100 hertz television sitting in the hallway that I'm going to try and fit on in a 66-inch space behind the computer.
Damn.
That's going to be huge.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Well, I need that for you. You would understand this, James. The average person does. And when you make a photo mosaic, and you're stitching together 400 or 500 pictures, or even 50. If you want to look at them in full size or anything like full size, you need a massive screen.
I'll be honest with you, Ari. I emailed you earlier, but I'm sure you haven't read your emails. But I use QGIS. I don't pay for Pix4D or Drone Deploy.
Oh, is that free?
Yeah, that's free, buddy.
My brother just fed me. Yeah, I just clicked on it and I got 20 mail. That's YouTube for you. I've got one from Mars. Yep, one from you, James. It's relinked. That's cool. All good. I will read them later. I've got 20 there and 2 from Robert.
What's the name of the tool, James?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, it used to be called Quantum Graphics Imaging Systems, or whatever it is.
And what's it called now?
QGIS. Just put in QGIS.
I'm not even aware of it, James. Is it a software package?
Open source photogrammetry software for photogrammetry and 3D modeling.
Now, it's called 2GIS, did you say?
Q.
Q.
As
Okay.
Quality General Inspector.
Okay.
Service.
What I use currently is I use a number of packages. I use one called DJI Flight Planner, which is coded here in Australia. It's $99 US for a lifetime license. And that's what I plan my missions with. You just draw a polygon around your area and it will present you with a number of flight plans to choose from. And then you export that as a CSV. I import that into Lychee, where the only thing that DJI Flight Planner doesn't handle is the height above ground. So I change the waypoints to reflect height above ground, not height above takeoff point in Lychee. And I use Lychee to run the missions. And in the images, I use what used to be Agisoft photo scan. It's now Agisoft Metashape, but I haven't upgraded yet to stitch everything together. And I find that anything over about 50 images or so, my current computer drops its bundle. I need to build a new one. But some packages are better, so I want to try this QGIS to see if it's more efficient with resources.
Yeah, I'm downloading it now.
I
One thing that stopped me from playing with any of these packages is because, you know, you get a trial for a lot of the other services and whatnot, but I never seem to use the service in the time the trial allots me. And then, you know, it expires, and then I want to try it again. I can't do it. So,
well,
now I had to download a VM machine and Python 3 along with it and use it as a virtual machine. But I'm telling you right now, I can sit here on this laptop, walk away, and come back an hour later, and the photogrammetry is done. I'm not sending it to anybody. It's not up in, you know, the cloud.
How much what processor?
I've got a Asus ROG GL702 laptop.
Do you know what the processor is?
It's got the i7 6700.
Exactly the same as me. How much RAM?
It's got 12 gigabytes of RAM, and I've got the NVIDIA 1060 card running in it.
Okay, the only difference is I've got the 960 GTX. I've got 16 gigs of RAM and the same processor. I got an MSI Leopard.
No problem.
So that's all right. And do you use the CUDA or?
You don't have to.
Oh, all right. I've got to give that a try. And of course, everybody else is going, "What the hell are they talking about?"
It's the core card.
You've been sitting there. You've worked hard to get in there. Tell us what's been happening in your life. And I'm going to eat. Excuse me.
Not a lot lately. Just been busy with my mom. She got sick and was in the hospital. So,
is she on the improve?
Today she seems better, but she's pretty much bedridden. So my sister's got coming over. Luckily, my sister lives a couple blocks away. So when she needs a bath or something, she comes over and takes care of that part of it.
She would be fairly elderly, I suppose, Rick?
Yeah, she's 80, 85.
Yeah, my mum passed away 20 years ago, but Dad's now in his early 80s and he's getting pretty frail. I worry.
Yeah, it's hard, but, you know, I'm living with her, so we're helping her out. And my brother's here. I do the cooking and stuff and take her to the hospital and stuff whenever she needs it.
So when I come to the US, you're going to be cooking, right?
I'll be happy to do that. I was a cook in the Navy. I just don't know how to cook for a small amount of people.
Okay, officers' mess or seamen's mess.
I used to do catering to the captain's wife for her tea parties.
Okay, I'll eat with you. That's cool. You can
Yeah,
tell
I
me
did.
military brat.
I made white beans and ham hocks yesterday, and I filled a 20-quart pot. There's only 3 of us.
I was going to say that would be the hardest part for you, adjusting to only feeding a few.
Yeah, my neighbors like it.
I always make big meals too. That way you have leftovers.
Christmas time, I make cookies for the neighborhood and the grocery store, and I pass them out to everybody.
You should never have said that, Rick. You know, later on, in a month's time, when the house next door is sold, you'll see that Hugh moves in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy cooking and stuff.
I'm not a real great cook. I can cook, but I'm just not good at it. I can do any one element of a meal. Where I fall down is trying to time them to all arrive on the table at the same time. Generally, something's always overcooked or undercooked.
Yeah, I enjoy. I wanted to. Was it 2 years ago? I wanted to learn about how to make French bread and stuff. I learned that. Taught myself how to do it, and make any type of bread I can make now. All nationality of breads and stuff. I like doing the fancy stuff where you braid them together and crap. And they look pretty. Tastes real good too.
Are you at the point where taking care of her is almost a full-time job?
Yeah, it is right now. Good. It's hard to get out. I was lucky to get out a couple of weeks ago. She wasn't. It was right before she went to the hospital where I went out with Mel and we flew over the lake.
Oh, nice.
Spent the day together flying, so I had a good time.
Was that Mel you said you went with, Rick?
Yeah, Mel from 400 AGL.
Is he as much fun in person as he appears to be on the live streams?
Oh yeah. He's crazy. He's always telling a joke to somebody.
He's one of those guys, isn't he? You know, not one of those guys, but one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's what I call a character. He really is.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a few characters here in the drone community. It's interesting.
Got a few stories.
I don't
yeah.
I don't know where he hails from, where home is for him, but he's got that slow drawl and the self-depreciating humor, but the overall self-confidence that's the stereotypical television American to us here in Australia.
Yeah.
He's from Tennessee, I believe. Well, I know he was out here when he was younger in San Diego, but he came out here for a high school reunion, and it was down in San Diego.
Cool. My co-pilot came down off his chair just now and mugged me for my sandwich.
All right.
Defend yourself. Come on.
No, I gave it to him. I know which side my bread's buttered on. Excuse me, his bread is buttered on.
It is, Tomas. It takes a lot of mental strength to take care of a loved one.
Yes, it does. But
I got into drones about, I guess it's 3 years ago. My kids got me one for Christmas, and ever since then, that's been nonstop drones.
I came into drones relatively recent compared to most of you guys, about a year ago, but I had 30 years of flight behind me, and I've been a comms tech and radio tech for years, so the radio component was easy, and I can fly, although I don't have a license. So I qualified in about, I think, 3 months after I got my first drone. So I transitioned fairly quickly into it. Like YouTube, I didn't get much choice there, did I? Here he goes. Nice jump, Cap.
And then after that, it's just practice, good aerial shots.
Yeah, that's where I've had to work. I'm only just now. Like I watch Paul Murray's ship videos and him doing manual orbits, and so smooth. And I think to myself, you're just so good. Remind me to kill you later. And so I've dialed down all of my gimbal rates and so forth, and that's helping. I'm getting a lot more cinematic.
That makes a big difference when you get everything set right.
I've learned how to select the right camera settings. I generally try and keep an eval of about minus 0.3, slightly underexpose it, because you can always add more exposure in post. So I'm learning. I'm becoming a better camera operator. The piloting, let's face it, after 30 years of RC and aerobatics, and I can fly all 4 modes, drones are pretty easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with Paul, what's amazing is he's doing a moving object too, trying to keep up with that ship.
Yeah, well, it's not moving that fast, but yes.
Yeah.
Well, if you see my last video that I put up, it's I'm following 2 guys on ATVs doing wheelies at about 35 miles an hour, and the Mavic 2 Pro couldn't get it where it would keep them in focus and all that. But if you look, I use the X5S camera, and it's perfect all the way through. And in fact, I did a circle around them while they were doing it. That's what you have to get. See, there's an ND16 filter on there, and being able to get the right shutter speed.
I've given up on getting an X5 for the Inspire one out here. I'll have to buy one secondhand from your neck of the woods. I think you do occasionally see them here, but they still bring stupid money.
Well, are they still going for $1,200?
Oh, no, you'd pay $3,000 secondhand for one here.
Wow,
just for the camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Holy.
And if I wanted to buy an XT, which is the thermal solution, they come in various resolutions. But if I wanted to buy an XT here, new, you can still distill a few. I'd be looking at 5 figures, 10,000.
Well, the XT2 is ridiculous. That's 13,000 in itself.
But the XT2 is still nominally a current camera. The XT is depreciated.
If I was going to do one, I would go for the FlearView Pro R.
Then you've got to do a custom gimbal solution.
Yeah, but a lot of people originally hung that off the back of the Inspire 1s, just put it at an angle, left it there, and went and did their business.
That was something that surprised me when I did this university course. I did it with the University of Tasmania, and their imaging arm is a company, well, they trade under Terraluma, which is, they're an industry leader. They've been doing it for 20 odd years. They invented a lot of the technologies. And I was greatly surprised to see that a lot of their cameras, a lot of their sensors are hard mounted to the birds.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you can fly and keep your height and all that. Like if you're doing solar panels, you have to be at a 60-degree angle to it.
To be honest, a solar panel, you don't even need thermal. And I know a guy who's got a contract with doing solar panels on the Canadian solar farms, as in the company Canadian Solar. They are out here. And he just does it with the Mavic 2 Zoom, and quite successfully as well. Anyway, Brent, you're too quiet. Say something.
I'm watching my download here.
What are you downloading? The
QGIS
or porn? Oh, sorry.
Some photos. I'm actually uploading my photos from the job I did.
Well, by the way, that reminds me, just before I forget, Hugh, if you want to give it a try, I will nominally designate you a contractor of remotely piloted aerial solutions for a month, and I'll put a copy of not the latest, but the latest bar 1 version, full professional version of Agisoft up on my Dropbox, and you can pull it down and play with it.
Oh, cool.
You'll have to, you'll have to install the server on yours, and it's just a runtime, and install it. It's about 1.6 or 1.8 gigs. It'll take me a couple of hours to upload it. I'll put it up on the Dropbox and send you a link tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you, bud. Appreciate that.
Not a worry.
Yeah, that'll be fun to try.
When I put up a 4-minute 4K video, it takes me 40 minutes to upload it. Then it has to process it. And then I have to leave it unlisted for the audio to catch up to it on YouTube.
It takes me about 2 hours per. What are 2 hours per 500 megabytes with a video to upload?
Wow. Well, 500 megabytes.
Yeah, a gigabyte takes me 4 hours to upload.
That is your Telstra problem.
Yeah, well, I'm on ADSL, and that's the best I can make on the copper.
Yeah.
So I know what your internet here is, and you've obviously got good. And Rick's pretty good because his image is good, and so is yours, Brent. You've obviously got decent internet as well.
Yeah, I think I have 50 megs and 10 up.
You may not have very good by your standards, Hugh, but you've got pretty good by my standards.
Yeah, I mean it's all relative, I suppose.
That's it. In what is it? In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
It's king, right?
That's right.
Well, I'm just installing QGIS. So, hey, is there a graphical user interface, or is it a command line thing?
I'm sorry, I missed that. Hugh, you're talking about which?
Oh, the QGIS. I was just wondering if it had a GUI or whether it's command line.
I used a command line. It opens up in its own virtual machine box, and you hit SH, then your arrow. You know, that's like, and then write start, type start, or something like that.
Okay,
So
a list of files for it to like append and process.
That all down.
I'll look at the instructions. It's probably complicated.
And there are tutorial videos.
Yeah, I'll have to look at some of that probably
on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm going to have to look into that because my biggest complaint about Agisoft, and it's considered to be the industry standard, but it is a shocking resource hog. If you go to their own webpage, they give you two specifications for two computers. And the lower specification for just up to 50 images needs 64 gigs of RAM. And their specification for the top end machine, they want at least a 16 core processor and 128 gig RAM.
Come on, who's going to have that?
That's crazy.
Out here, I did a build. I did a quote for myself, and of course I'd be assembling it myself, so I'm not paying for labor. Parts alone were $7,000, not including a monitor.
Wow. Hey, Pods is in the house.
Pods. And
when I got this computer, it was on
those guys.
That's it. There's a link in the and Matt North. Matt,
hey, what's up, man?
There's a link in the chat there if either of you guys want to join us on the panel.
It's an Aussie invention.
Matt North only lives 20 minutes to a half an hour drive from me, and the guy is an utter card. He slays me. I don't know. He released a video last week, I think it was. He's got a new Mavic. Well, new to him Mavic. Anyway, I won't tell you anymore. Just check out his channel and have a look at his video.
What is the NBN, Ari?
National Broadband Network. The previous government floated a system where they were going to run fibre to the house, FTTH. The current government watered that down to FTTN, fibre to the node. So they're running optic fibre to pillar boxes every couple of streets. And from there on in, you're fed via the old cable coax network that used to be for pay TV. And it is now pretty much idle. And nominally, the most expensive tier is 100 megabyte down and 50 up. But not too many people are getting it. And also being on HFC, being on cable, unlike fiber, it's got a limited bandwidth. So if everybody in your street is downloading as hard as possible, you can end up back at ADSL speeds anyway.
Yeah.
Wow, ADSL. I haven't heard that in a while.
Can you connect to the node yourself?
No. And funnily enough, I did my original training when I was 15 with the PMG, which was the Postmaster Generals, which then became Telecom Australia, and that then became Telstra. So it's Telstra, and I'm qualified, and my qualifications are recognised by them, even though I haven't worked in the field since I was 19. But if I tried it, no, I would be in a great deal of trouble.
So Telstra uses software that my team developed about 20 years ago.
They're probably still using it. It's probably still their latest cutting edge.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's now part of Oracle's main telecom suite. It's for activation. Like when you call and want a new line, they provision the circuits with it.
Telstra are like any one of these companies that have a virtual government-sponsored monopoly. They tend not to be too receptive.
I was asking.
Barbie. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I almost got to Australia, Ari, but I had to commit to a 2-year project if I wanted to go to Australia. So I ended up turning it down because I didn't want to leave my wife for that long. And
I can understand that, but you're not dead yet. You might get here.
Never know. You never know.
Was that one of those contract jobs?
Well, it was with my company. It's just I was a project manager deploying software. So, whenever we'd work with a new company, and Telstra at that time was installing our software. So I would have gone and overseen it and, worked with them and that sort of stuff.
Would have been a nice job for a couple of years if the wife could have gone with you.
Yeah, it was. I ended up going to England instead because it was a shorter duration and the flight was shorter, right? It was only like 7 hours from DC where I was at the time. So
another thing about Matt North's videos, check out, he's got some there on Purlingbrook Falls, which is a national park near us. Now, I know that a lot of people in the Canadian drone hub community, shall we call it, are really big Spark enthusiasts. Until Matt got the Mavic, he was flying the Spark exclusively. And my foster daughter, she's an arts major and into photography, and I gave her a Spark earlier this year. And it's still sitting there. It's unflown. It's in the box. And I dragged her in here last week, sat her down, and I pulled up Matt's videos and said, have a look at that. That's what you can do with your Spark. And she sort of went, her eyes got big. And she went, oh.
Yeah, they're firing places up.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey.
Well,
Really look at that.
You know what I found, Ari, with my 11-year-old was she flew the drone for a few minutes, said, yeah, it takes nice pictures and everything looks nice, and then handed me the controller and walked away.
Well, Chloe, that's my foster. She's not at all interested from the perspective of flying drones, but she is interested in photography.
Over here.
So, Lawrence, thanks for joining us in the panel.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you?
I'm well.
Lawrence, how you doing?
I'm okay for today.
I really enjoyed your videos.
A nice video you guys put out last night or yesterday.
Oh, thanks. That was the three of us went to the same spot, and I have a problem with putting out a video at the same time as someone who flew the same spot as me, because then you're like competition. So I let them put out their videos, and then the following week I put out my video.
Was that you that flew the Kings Park Psychiatric Center?
I did do once there, yes, possibility.
Yeah, I think I told you that I still have the ward key from working there.
Oh, yeah, I do remember you mentioning that.
You were in front of the building I worked at in 1976.
Wow.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yep. It was an 810-acre campus with 10,000 mental patients.
Yeah, that place was very, very big. Next time we go back there, we want to get inside the building, but you can get arrested now for that.
Yeah, I know. But
well, Lawrence, I'm the guy who's got the key.
Yeah, I do have a ward.
I enjoyed those videos greatly, and now those guys, it's just the three of you, isn't it?
It's the three of us. It's originally Herman, Phantom Flight 101, and I, and Justin. He's like the third wheel. He's always been with us. He's always been hanging with us and flying with us, but He works a lot of hours. He's an auto
He's a
mechanic.
quiet one too. That was the question I was going to ask you. Was Justin's name? I'm making a note of that.
Yes,
So.
yes, Justin. That's
He's
strong
just real
evolution.
quiet.
Yeah, he is. We're trying to break him out of it slowly.
I know how that is.
As I left them, and I think it was Herman's video, I left the comment. To us in Australia, the Bronx, in inverted commas, it's almost a semi-mythical place that you hear about on TV, but it doesn't really exist in real life.
Okay.
And of course, anything we do get fed is only fed to us by the television media, and they just want to hype up the stereotype. So it was really very interesting to see those videos and see what it's actually like now.
You know, that's kind of why we started those guys. It's actually two reasons. We started those guys because we used to fly with a group of guys here in New York. We still fly with these guys, but Herman and I wanted to take our YouTube channel and go in a direction that no one else is going. And that's showing people that you can fly here in the state of New York. Despite what you hear, despite the news, if it wasn't true, I wouldn't have 100 videos.
No, that's right.
You know, the cops have never come and knocked on my door. The FAA has never knocked on my door. I'm following drone rules. If you see me flying a skyscraper, I've used the 400 by 400 rule. All of you have seen that video from Ken Herron, right? Where he shows how to fly an antenna or structure. So whenever they question me on that, I just send them Ken Herron's video, and then they leave me alone.
Unfortunately, we don't have the same rules here. Here, it's as Mar says, essentially it works that make a cylinder around it and go straight up to space. We cannot pass over. Our 400-foot ceiling is if you come up to a tower that's 500 feet, you've got to go around it.
Okay. Well, see, it's kind of fun here because it's true. You can't go over your 400 feet here in the States as well. But there's a catch-22 because when you fly urban, when there's a lot of buildings around, most of these buildings are within 400 feet of each other, right?
Yeah.
So usually the way I get to a tall building is I piggyback from building to building until I get to my subject.
Under the letter of the law, that would be legal because I'm very aware of the US laws and the British ones. I make sure I am.
Exactly. And you have a lot of helicopters and planes and stuff, but I have this app, and you guys, if you don't have it, download it. It tells you every aircraft. I live in New York, and it tells me every aircraft from New York to as far as Philadelphia and as high as Boston, Massachusetts. And it's called Flight Radar 24.
Okay, I'll put in a word of caution there.
Now, it's a great app, and what the app does, it shows you every airplane, airport, and helicopter. I see the key, bro.
Oh, you do? All right.
In the area. And what's cool about it is if you click on the plane that you see in your area, first it zooms into where you are using GPS. Now, I don't know if you guys can see the screen. Hold on. I'm going to click on my... You see this right here? Yes. Now, any one of these planes, this is where I was flying last. But if I click this arrow, this is where I am. I live right next to one of the largest airports on the East Coast, JFK International Airport.
Yep.
And right across from you is what airport?
This is JFK JFK International Airport.
I know, but on the other side of the island is another one.
On the other side is LaGuardia. Now, what's cool about this map shows you, if you see in the upper corner over here, it's kind of hard to do backwards, but right there, that's LaGuardia Airport. Now, what's great about this app is, see there are planes taxiing in from over the water going to this airport. I can click on one of these planes and it'll tell you it's coming from LAX, okay, and it's going to JFK, which is the airport next to me, and it's at an altitude of 1,084 feet and descending quickly. It's coming in the land, actually not far from where I am. It shows the flight path and everything. But what's great about this app is it tells you the altitude of any plane or helicopter. If you click on a plane or helicopter and an ID does not come up, it's usually law enforcement or government.
There is one caveat I'll put in there, Lawrence, because I use the same app. It works by the system that puts that data on the app. It works by monitoring transponders. Not
Yes.
every aircraft carries a transponder. There is a sizable minority. About 20% of aircraft don't carry a transponder and aren't required to. All of the major airliners do, but they're not the ones that are going to get you. So don't rely on it. Still use Mark 1 eyeball. The only time I've ever come close to having a collision was with two water bombing aircraft that were traveling at 200 feet, and they did not have transponders.
Okay.
We have the 2020 law where they all have to be ADS-B by 2020.
Yes. Well, they're pushing that way. It's going to come, but it's not there yet. And of course, we're always a few years behind the US.
What is that law? Explain. I'm not familiar with that.
The FAA is requiring all planes now to have ADS-B out.
Oh, well, all planes and or drones as well, because DJI drones or whatever drones come out in the future will have to have an active transponder. But a lot of you guys don't notice, but it already does.
Mine does.
Because flying here in New York, the police helicopters and tourist helicopters can see the drone, they can see your radio. So if they need be, they can triangulate where you are and direct the police straight to you. Now, we fly here in New York all the time, and usually they come, they hover, they collect data. If you're in their database and they know you're not malicious, they fly away and leave you alone. If you're not registered and or in their database, they'll hover there a little longer, collecting the data from your drone and your exact position to see if you're doing anything malicious.
I saw that on one of your videos. One of your videos you had explained that.
Yeah. It's harder here in New York than most places for the reason that they're trying to put this fear in people about drones. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You guys who follow me and you follow Phantom Flight 101 and a bunch of other New York drone pilots know for a fact, if it was illegal to fly in New York, all of our asses would be in jail, correct?
Yep.
Now, what they're doing, the reason they're fear mongering, especially New York, is because right now, present day, upstate from me in Rome, New York, they're testing a drone highway from Rome, New York to Utica, New York. And I know this personally because my nephew-in-law lives in Utica, New York. And he says when they shut down the airways, no planes can fly. They're flying as many as 30 to 50 drones back and forth in different directions to test this drone highway. Well, it's been tested. It's been tested. Right. It's been tested. It's been approved. Now the companies are bidding for airspace. Now, before they can bid for airspace, they got to shut down the hobbyist airspace until they decide what they're going to do with us. Right now, if you live in the state of New York and you're not a 107 licensed pilot, it's hard as hell to fly.
North Carolina has it where you have to have a separate state license too.
Well, we're registered. I fly as a hobbyist. I'm a hobbyist. I'm actually going to start studying for my 107, but by the end of the summer I should have it. But they're making it so that they are slowly eliminating the hobbyist airways throughout the United States, and it's spreading as a wave from New York and across the United States. And eventually it's going to hit California, and you will not be able to fly. And if you're not registered, they're going to consider you a rogue drone, which they can use drone technology to take you out.
There were 4 such corridors in the original bidding for the FAA. There's a site, FAA or UAS rules, regulations, and laws. It's a group that, well, I'm sure you guys all know about it. But New York was bidding hard on that because that's the way the delivery drones are going to go through from testing, right?
Exactly. And it's already working down. I believe Phantom Flight on his show on Wednesday night with those guys, he mentioned, I don't remember the state, so don't quote me on it, but I believe it's in the area of Virginia, where they've already delivered successfully hearts for heart transplants and kidneys and stuff right here in the States,
Yeah.
as well as them doing it in abroad in Africa and other places like that with medication. But they're taking the hobbyist airspace away. And remember, I didn't say it first, but remember you heard it here. Eventually, the hobbyists will not be able to fly until they determine what the hell to do with us. And if you are not a 107 licensed pilot, you will be considered rogue.
Well, they came up with the 400-foot ceiling because airplanes are supposed to be at 600 feet.
This is true, but can I hold on 1 second? I live 4 blocks from the Atlantic Ocean. Now, the law is as you fly along the shore, you're allowed to fly over the water, skimming the shore closely. Then you're not supposed to drop below 400 feet because if you do, you're supposed to be landing or taking off. Okay, you have these rich guys that live out in the Hamptons and Martha's Vineyards, okay, that fly their personal planes and or private helicopters all up and down this beach at 150 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet. And if you have a drone at 400 feet at return to home or anything like that, you can risk getting hit because these fools aren't just flying along the shore. They're flying over the sand. Illegal, below radar, because anything below 300 feet is below radar.
I'm from Smithtown, Long Island, so I know what you're talking
about. You know what I'm talking about the rich guys in their helicopters and planes all the time. Yeah.
But he's absolutely right. Then Billy Kyle, what did he do? Visit up there and flew his out?
He came to hang out. We went down to go visit him 3 times. The first time I went to go meet him, we went to just go fly behind that Rocky Museum. You know, we runs up the stairs, you know, all of that. And he was like, yo, I'm visiting my girl's parents up in Boston, and I take a shortcut through New York. So when I'm coming through, I'll let you guys know. And we went and flew, and we met up with him in New Jersey, and we got to fly the Statue of Liberty. That same weekend, they were testing the lights for the 9/11 memorials for the Twin Towers. And it was a really, really great day to hang with him because Billy, he's very down to earth, and surprisingly, he's not as snooty as everyone says he is.
He had never been there before?
I had never been to Philadelphia, but I can tell you one thing. You guys know from Philly drone life, well, they just put up a new no-fly zone, okay, in Philly. But you can stop in the middle of the street, pull over in your car, and just pull out your drone on the sidewalk and fly. They are very, very drone friendly. We were flying a bridge with Billy Kyle, and I can't say who it was, but it was me, Billy Kyle, Phantom Flight 101.
Adobo.
And no, Dobo was original Dobo wasn't at this one, but somebody was following the train going across the Ben Franklin Bridge, you know, getting that cinematic shot with the sun in the background, and the train stopped. So the drone stopped and hovered. 10 minutes later, a police officer comes up and says, "You guys flying drones?" We go, "Yeah. What's the problem?" He goes, "Well, the motorman just reported a drone following him, which he thinks is a little too close."
So what?
I hope none of you guys are flying. We said, "Oh no, that's got to be someone from the Jersey side because our guys fly responsibly. This is Billy Kyle. He's showing us, you know, around the city." He says, "I know because I saw a group of you guys over by the museum." We said, "Yeah, that was us. That was us." So he said, "Well, just make sure you stay away from the bridge." And we said, "Sure, no problem." Now, after he left, we did say, "Look, whoever the hell it is, get the hell away from the bridge." But they are very drone friendly there. Very, very drone friendly.
I'm afraid Billy got a bit snooty with me.
The only thing I worry about, and you know, around skyscrapers, the wind gusting and drafting is something that no one else would know about unless they live around those skyscrapers.
Let me explain something to you. If the wind is over a certain mile per hour, I don't fly. Okay. If it doesn't involve me making $800 plus, I don't fly.
Right.
You know, it's better safe than sorry. I see there's a lot of guys here in New York flying their drones in 30-mile-per-hour winds. Not me. And I'm insured. I don't have the DJI care. I'm insured through State Farm and all of that. But I don't take risk. I don't have to. And if you see the way we fly around skyscrapers, you are right. But those days that I'm flying, you could almost guarantee the wind is 15 miles an hour or below.
Well, I'm just mentioning it to people who do go in from out of state and think, oh,
and
I
think
can
you could go buzz a skyscraper. You're 100% right. You're 100% right about that. I've had to put my drone in a sports mode one time, and it was only because I was flying between two buildings, but I was flying with the direction of the wind. The problem was when I came from between the two buildings, the crosswind almost pushed me into the side. But I put it in the sports mode and was able to power out of it. But like I said, if it's not, if it's not 20 miles per hour or lower, I don't fly. Phantom Flight 101 will tell you the same thing. We don't fly. Yeah, you guys call us, they call us wusses and everything. You know what? I still got my drone.
No. You know what?
That's the thing. I can't afford to lose my drone, right? I'm in the same, I'm conservative like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
But we don't want to be the first one smashing them and getting put on the front of Newsday either.
Yeah, exactly. That too.
Well, this is to show you.
I don't care about the drone really. It's if anybody gets hurt or anything, that's the main thing.
That's true too. And this is to show you here in New York, Asgard, he's in a lot of groups that I'm in. Okay. And I can tell you right now, here in New York, if for one, like I said, if it was illegal to fly, hundreds of us would be arrested every day. And two, if they weren't trying to scare us from flying, why are they telling the Parks Department people to confiscate people's drones and issue them a fine and stuff like that?
Of course they are. But as far as flying in winds go, I do fly in winds, but I get paid well for it. That's my, I'm a specialist pilot. I'm only an average camera operator. And hang on, we've got issues going on here with my daughter. Hold on.
Like everybody else, I use UAV forecast. If the winds are too high, I don't fly. That's it.
I use a multiple of them. I use my local weather map, which shows ground wind speed, and then I have UAV set to 300 feet. Okay, because at 300 feet, it's close to 17 miles an hour. That's okay. 20 miles per hour, I don't know if I want to risk that.
Yeah.
And just in case I'm not sure, I bring one of these.
You know what? I brought one from Amazon, and they sent me it, and it never worked.
An anemometer, is that what it's called?
Yes, yes.
Actually, I sent Dobo one. So original Dobo. I've sent original Dobo one of those anemometers for the wind and also for sound about a year and a half ago. He uses it when he goes out flying, I think.
It's okay. They're great because you always need to know ground wind speed as opposed to where you're trying to go.
It just gives me the basics. I look on my app, the before you fly app tells you. I look at that and then I look at it with that and match it up.
You guys know what this is here? This right here? Yeah.
Extra map.
Yeah. It right now it's Chinese to me, but in about a month or so, I'll be able to just look at a color and know what it is.
Dude, it's not as hard as you think. It looks more intimidating than it is.
I'm not too worried about it because I can read I used to read and draw blueprints. So everything to me is a blueprint with a layer. If you go into general contracting, you have the main blueprint, which shows everything. And then you have the pipes, you have the gas, you have the water. It's the same thing.
VTs are all pretty well straightforward. Sorry, as I was saying before, my daughter pulled me away.
Mark.
Mark.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, the $800 US point is about where I get out of bed. I'll fly up to 50 mile an hour winds if they pay me well enough for. I've got 8 drones. If I lose one, that's all good. And
what do you fly?
What do you have? An Inspire?
I have everything from Sparks up to Inspire.
Okay. Yeah. Now, see, if I had an Inspire 2, I would fly it. I would fly. It wouldn't bother me in up to about 50 mile per hour winds.
My
I'm not
go-to,
flying that. I'm not flying that in 50-mile-an-hour winds. That's a Matrice 210 RTK. And I'll tell you right now,
I would, if they
No.
paid me enough for it. My bottom line is I price all of my jobs with like Lawrence. I've got full hull insurance and everything else. Costs me $700 a month, so I make that work for me, and I price my jobs according to the risk factor involved. If they need it done now, and we're in an extended period of bad weather, then and they want it done now. Generally, that's where I get my bread and butter. They come to me for that. I'm the guy.
Right.
I price it accordingly. I do a full formal job safety assessment and risk mitigation and threat and error management, put it all in place, check for safety with the public, safety to property and structure, this sort of thing. If it all passes, we have a formalized threat rating of above 4, you can't do it. Below 4 to 2, you can with threat and error management, all of that sort of thing. If it all ticks all the boxes, I'll fly it. And generally speaking, to me, on any given job, the footage that is on my card, my SD card, or on the SSD, the footage is worth far more to me than the drone. So
That's true. That's true. I agree with you.
My card with every battery. I only use 32 gig cards in my commercial aircraft. It's part of my checklist. Change battery, change card. Because if I lose the aircraft on the next flight, I've still got that footage there.
that's a good thing. What does everybody use? I'm using 128 gigabyte A data cards.
I use 128. Go ahead.
Yeah, for the V90 speed, so it has a read write over 100.
Yep. I use SanDisk Extreme Pro for 2 reasons. One, because they're a recommended card by DJI. So if I have any issues and I need to go back to DJI support and they say, what card are you using? I say, well, I'm using one that's on your list of supported cards. And also, it's very different in Australia to the US. Sometimes you have to hunt around for things. SanDisk is very common. You can get it anywhere.
I know it's hard in Australia because I have a friend, Rob Masters. He's in a couple of drone groups on Facebook, and he has a 3DR Solo, and I can get batteries here for the 3DR Solo when they're on sale for $60 to $80 a piece. Over in Australia, he was telling me they were going for triple that price. So I tried to send batteries to Australia, priority mail, and they sent them back. They will not take batteries through the mail, which is hard. So now I would
through freight, but by the time you pay to meet the requirements that they want in place before they will ship them, the savings is gone.
Right. They told me if I put it on a container ship, which means I'd have to go to a container company and pay hundreds of dollars to send 2 batteries over this big. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't worth it to ship it back.
Well, for the people who are in the chat and are interested for prices out here, this is in Australian dollars, so Aussie dollars worth about 70 US at the moment. A TB47 about $300. TB48 is about $350. A Phantom 4 battery is
$350. They're $199 on Amazon here.
Yeah, well, a Phantom 4 battery is $250. A Mavic 2 series, $235. The Airs are about $150. A Spark battery, $79.
We just got Phantom Flight 101, and he actually just brought me a battery, a Phantom 4 Pro battery, for $141. A chain of stores here called Best Buy.
Yep.
Everyone, being that the Phantom is discontinued, everyone is liquidating their Phantom software, their Phantom drones and Phantom batteries. So they only had 2 batteries left in a box, and they put them on sale for $141. So he brought me one, and he brought one for himself. Usually they go about $189 to $200.
Out here, they never discount it. They're going to keep making the Phantom 4. You might not find people who stock them, but they will keep making the Phantom 4 batteries.
You know what? I believe that. I believe that as well. And once they find new parts distributors, they'll come back with a Phantom 4. And Phantom Flight 101 said something on his show, and he says this: there's nothing better and nothing that makes more money than the comeback of something.
Then a scare and a comeback.
Exactly. If you scare people to think that this is the end of the line, and then you make them sweat a little, and you push them to the edge, and you push them to the edge, and then all of a sudden you go, ta-da! Everyone forgets that they were near the edge about to jump, and they jump right on it.
Yep.
I buy from a DJI dealer, not from a chain store. And of course, the chain stores might stop stocking Phantom 4 batteries because they're discontinued. But DJI will continue to make them for another 3 years. They've only just ceased making Phantom 3 batteries. So I get everything through him. It's fairly easy. Well, as far as Australia goes, anyway, just pricey. But that's why I buy DJI, not because, well, they are the best thing on the market at the moment, but simply because they're the only thing I can get guaranteed service or parts for in Australia.
I had seen somebody who bought an actual knockoff Phantom battery, and it was junk.
Well, I'm going to tell you, depending on what firmware you have, your firmware will tell you that this battery is not compatible, or an error message will come up.
Well, the most important part in the DJI battery is the smart controller board inside the battery. The cells are just average cells.
Yeah.
What I do with my cells for all of my aircraft, when they start to become tired, I put them in the freezer. When I get enough of them, which hasn't happened yet, I have a friend who runs a battery packing business. I will take them down, and they will be keeping the original DJI controller circuitry, and the cells will just be repacked. But they will be repacked to my specifications with cells from a manufacturer of my stating. So it's not like I'm buying a no-name off the internet. I know exactly what's in them. But yeah, I bought another Phantom 4 last week, and the DJI dealer looked on the worldwide DJI network, and that was one of only 3 that were showing up worldwide in authorized DJI stockists. So yeah, it's getting pretty hard to find a new one now.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm really pissed because here in New York, the price of the Phantom 4 has gone anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. Okay, yeah. And also, I just sold my Phantom 4 Standard for $450. Right now, they're selling it for $800 to $1,000. So had I held on, I might have been able to get about $657 for it, as opposed to $450. But I don't care. It went to a good cause.
The one that people want is either the advanced or the professional, because I've got the 20 megapixel camera with the hardware shutter, and that's what it's all about. It's the camera. No, the aircraft itself is not hugely important, but it's the only show in town for under much more than you can still get the Phantom 4 RTK, but that's bringing $8,500 in our money. So
yeah,
it's the same battery, and they just came out with the Phantom 4 RTK. So that battery isn't going anywhere.
Claude had to repack it.
Well, I never buy anything when it first comes out anyway. I learned that a long time ago. I'm an old PC person, and if you know anything about Microsoft, back in the days of DOS, Microsoft was famous for coming out with new versions of DOS just to meet the launch date, so their stocks would go up. They would put out something with bugs in it, and whoever got that first version 1.0, it had bugs in it. I would wait until 1.1 or 1.2 before I obtained a copy of it. And that's the same thing with drones and stuff.
I was always a slow adopter, Lawrence. I didn't start using mice on Windows until, the end of the Windows 95 era, 98. I didn't think it was going to last. That shows you how silly I am.
Well, look what DJI did when they came out with the Phantom 4. It was 6 months later that they came out with the Phantom 4 Pro.
Yeah.
Now, everybody who bought the Phantom 4 had a right to be pissed.
Miles is just saying you paid $1,000 for his P4 and $2,000 for his P4P V2. Well, I paid $2,399 for both of my P4P V2s, which is the list price in Australia, and I was happy to pay it for. He discounts everything for me, the dealer, because I spend so much there. But when I went in, he said, "I can't discount this one," and I just didn't argue. I took it. I need it. I had stopped flying my original Phantom 4 V2 because it's the only aircraft I've got that can manage mapping to industry standard. and I wasn't going to fly it for anything except business work in case I lost it. So what happened was I went down to the dealer beginning of last week, or the end of the week before, and to get something totally unrelated. And he leaned over the counter. He said, "Ari, I just got a call from DJI yesterday. They found one more Phantom 4 Professional version 2. Huh? And I just didn't say anything. I didn't buy it. I came home and I walked in and I said to the wife, "That bastard Nick." And she said, "Why?" And I told her what had happened. She said, "Don't you want it?" I said, "Of course I want it. I haven't got a backup, but the business can't afford it right now." And I was in here on Saturday morning talking to my dad. He came over and she came in and said, "By the way, congratulations. You're the owner of a second Phantom 4 Professional. Go down and pick it up on Tuesday."
Ari, I got a question for you.
Yep.
You do mapping, right?
Yes.
Which do you prefer? Now, I know personally what I prefer, but I want to hear from someone else who does mapping. Which do you prefer to do mapping with? The Phantom 4 Professional or the Inspire?
Phantom 4
Any
Professional.
Inspire series.
The Phantom 4 Professional, 11 times out of 10. They do not currently make an Inspire camera with a hardware shutter. The only thing that's close is the Z7, which has a hybrid. It's uses a hardware shutter below a certain resolution, a certain zoom, and a software above it.
That doesn't matter. All you have to do is stop and shoot.
Well, yes, but if I'm going to stop and shoot, I can only cover a third as much ground per flight as I can if my standard run for mapping is 91 meters. That's the 300 feet, 32.9 kilometers an hour, and a frequency of 0.5 hertz. So one still every 2 seconds. And I do the full run at 32.9 kilometers an hour. If I have to stop for every frame, I have just reduced my coverage by to 1/3.
But
I can see that.
It can be done just fine.
Well, it can if you want to buy 3 times as many batteries, or you've got 3 times as much time. No, it's not economical for me. My pricing is such that my whole business model is around those figures, and I would have to start charging considerably more to give the service that way. No, the emperor is nude, man. Basically, I won't say it's the Phantom 4 or nothing. It's a hardware global shutter or nothing.
I would rather use the X5S camera to be doing it, or even the X5. I had no problems with it for grammetry.
Well, I do know people who map with both, but I've come to find out I've tried it with an Inspire 1 with an X5 camera on it, and I've tried it with a Phantom 4 Professional, and what I was able to shoot with one 30-minute battery with the Phantom 4 Professional, I had to come back and power up and go back out with the Inspire. And that was the only thing that made or broke which helped me decide which one I think I tend to favor more.
You know what? My only problem or complaint with the Inspire 1, because I do love the way that thing flies, is the battery time. If you're doing work, you're going to get, honestly, 13 minutes out of a battery?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, they can say 25 minutes all they want. You're getting 12.
And my 3DR Solo flew 15 minutes,
right,
which gave me 11 to 12 minutes. So, and believe it or not, when I had my 3DR Solo, because of the battery time, I learned to fly an entire video. I don't do like most guys and just go there and take off. And while I'm doing my pre-flight check, I'm scanning where I wanted to fly, the exact route, what I want to get a shot of, and I was able to do it in 11 minutes per battery. So it is possible. It's just you have to have enough batteries. And the only other issue that I and trust me, I would love to have an Inspire, but I don't have enough room. And my wife threatens me, if I bring any more drones in this damn house, I'm gonna have to get out.
Well, I do have the Inspire, and I don't have it fully kitted out because I chose to direct my money towards my Phantoms.
Right.
I'm not a fanboy. I don't have any brand loyalty. I buy what works for me best. As I said, I've got 3 Sparks, a Mavic Air, 2 Phantom 4 Professionals, and the Inspire. At a pinch, if I fly it well enough, and that, as I said, that's my gig, I can do anything that I can do with the other drones with my Phantom 4, but I cannot do what I do with the Phantom 4 with any of the other drones. So if you held a gun to my head and said, you've got to get rid of them all except one, the one I would be keeping would be the Phantom 4 Professional.
Well, that's like what I was talking about before. With the Mavic 2 Pro, I couldn't get the shot at 35 miles an hour following, but I could with the X5S camera.
Yep, I hear you. If you have a look at my video, A Day on the Bay, there's a shot there where I track a jet ski. And I asked him later, he was traveling at 70 kilometers an hour, which would be about 40 miles an hour, I suppose. Right. And I was shooting him from a backwards oblique. And you can tell by the footage that I was struggling. But I was side slipping that over the water at 70 kilometers an hour. And I could do it. It wasn't great. It wasn't award-winning photography or anything like that. And I didn't have a lot of photography experience. I did not have my R.p.a.s at the time I took that footage. But I did it. It's a great aircraft, and people say, "Oh, it's been discontinued because it's obsolete." No, it hasn't. Anything, an aircraft, whatever, a record player, anything does not have to be obsolete to be discontinued. All it has to be is
Dynamics just came out, and it's not the Phantom 4 is.
No, all it's got to be discontinued is more expensive than its successor to manufacturer. How many things do we see come out and are adopted by some manufacturer for the simple reason that they're cheaper for them to make? And it's cheaper for DJI to make a Mavic than it is to make a Phantom.
It is right now.
That Mavic 2 Pro is so quiet.
I've got the zoom. I didn't buy Pro because, well, why? I've got the 20 megapixel 1-inch sensor on my Phantom, but I bought a zoom. And I fly that mostly for recreation, although I do use it for some inspections. I'll throw it into 1080 and double up on the zoom, and it allows me to get footage without getting too close. I find it useful for structure and antenna and bridge inspection. I don't map with it, but it does a lot of other jobs.
I use the lenses for that. I've got a 45 millimeter, and I've got the Z30 camera that.
Yep.
I tell you what, it's scary, that Z30.
Yep.
You can have no light at all and still see a perfectly clear picture.
What are they worth now?
Oh, you mean, yeah, they started out at 10 grand. I bought mine for 2,600.
I say to people who come to me, not so much professional operators, but people who are into photography, YouTube, or they're just doing it for fun, and they say to me, what do I buy? Do I buy a professional or a zoom, as in the Mavic 2 line? And I always say to them, well, if I was you, this was before they were discontinued, you could get them cheaper. I always used to say to them, if I was you, I'd buy a zoom, because there's nothing on the market with that zoom capability for less than 4 times the price, and buy a second-hand Phantom 4 for your 20 megapixel camera. Obviously now with what they're bringing second-hand, that's no longer relevant advice.
I saw some Anafi footage that looked pretty good, and I didn't even know that had a zoom.
It's got a hardware shutter too. It's only a digital zoom.
I didn't even know it had a zoom. That little thing is a little more surprising than I thought. Does it also have that lepton sensor, which is useless?
They've just released a thermal version just in the last.
Yeah, they did. My only problem with Anafi, and it's not the Anafi. My problem with Parrot is they could have a really great drone if they stop making their drones out of styrofoam.
Okay. Thomas O'Sullivan has just said he saw a video from the original Dobo, and he said that footage gets bad if you shoot in 2.7K or 1080. The footage is not great. Yeah, I've heard this. It depends on what you define as not great. If you are a professional cinematic photographer, you might not like it. I've seen these videos, and they're holding up the footage and saying, "Oh, it's so noisy." Well, I can't see it. And okay, I've already admitted here a dozen times I'm not a specialist photographer, but if it was that bad, I would still expect to be able to see it. And go and look at Eden Valley drones or Eden Valley UK. It's something like that. He uses a zoom, and he does all of his footage at 1080 so that he can use the 4-power zoom. You tell me that that's bad footage. it's perfectly acceptable for. Look, if you're downloading it off YouTube, it's only going to be in 720p anyway.
True.
Yeah,
that is true.
People,
And I think that sucks with YouTube, though. The fact that you can upload video to them at the best quality, and then when you go to download it back, you get it as crap.
Yep.
I think there's really something wrong with that.
I uploaded 720 now because that's all it streams at.
they have a compression algorithm too that you could be uploading 4K and you're playing it back on a 4K TV, and you know you have in your hand in your SD card a better quality film than you're seeing on the TV.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about? Am I saying it right?
Sorry?
The 4K the compression on YouTube is, I don't know what they use, VP9 I think it is,
I think so.
to
But
encode.
there are so many different codecs and encapsulations that I don't bother keeping across them. Only as far as does it work. That's all I'm really interested in anymore. I used to, and that's what I think is the issue with the original Dobo. He's probably a way better photographer than I am, but people tend to get caught up in the numbers marketing.
You know what? Him and original Adobo and Billy Kyle, they're like best friends.
Mhm.
And from what I could see, original Adobo's the bad boy of the group, and Billy Kyle's the nice guy. Now, Billy Kyle, if you've ever seen him do a video, he's got some pretty good editing skills and post editing skills, etc. But original Adobo, he can fly. He can fly. And he has a little twisted personality. I haven't met him personally. When he came to New York to fly with us, I had to work that day, but I I, I could see myself hanging out with him. I mean, just to learn some of his editing skills.
I watch everything that Billy Kyle does, and I find that he's a pretty even-handed commenter. His recent one on the Evolve is a good point in hand. He's very honest about it, and I value that. I think I ticked him off. I'm not sure. Maybe I was reading his response wrong, but when that video where he lost his Mavic 2 Pro, and he made the comment in the video that he was cruising out at 45 miles an hour, and he didn't get it home. He ditched it in the water. And I just made the comment that, well, if it was cruising out at 45 miles an hour, that should have tipped you that there was a tailwind. And he came back a bit snarkily and said, "Oh no, there was no tailwind. That didn't tell me anything. The Mavic 2 will do 50 mile an hour." Well, yes, it will, flat out.
Right.
But it cruises at about 30 to 35. And
exactly. So 45 miles per hour, you had a tailwind.
And by the time he got to the island, he was on 0 battery.
Well, the numbers are with a 10 mile an hour tailwind, assuming that it's directly square behind you, you can only use 1/3, about 28% of your battery or 29% of your battery on the way out if you want to have a hope of getting home with a 10% margin.
Right, fighting into the wind.
If you fly out to 50, so I actually went back and posted all the figures because I thought, well, if I actually have cheat sheets taped to my controllers, giving me flight times at various wind speeds, because you can't take out a calculator. I've got all the formula to work it out, but when you're flying, you can't do it. So I've got cheat sheets that tell me 10 kilometer an hour tailwind, X% out, X% in, this sort of thing, 1 for 15, 1 for 20.
Yeah.
And it's a logarithmic progression. You use way more battery at 10 mile an hour tailwind than at 5.
What did he say to you when you put all that in there? You know he doesn't know that.
No, well, no, he didn't reply the second time, but I didn't do it to tweak his nose. I was actually, because I didn't use it until some months after he'd lost it. And I actually said, well, this is an old video, but just for everybody else who's following it, this is what you should be aware of. And if you don't see that, if you see that sort of speed, you know that you've got a tailwind. And I think that because so many people are negative on YouTube, I think Billy probably thought I was a troll because he'd never had anything to do with me. He didn't know who the hell I was.
Right. Well, before I met Billy, it was strange because I had tried to interact with him. And I understand when you have thousands and thousands of subscribers, it's hard to respond to everyone. See, right now, I can do that. I can respond to everyone right now hopefully it won't get to the point where it will get to the point where I can't. But when I met him, I was like, yo, remember someone asked you this question about so and so in a video? He's like, oh, that was you? I was like, yeah. He was like, well, don't take it personal, but there's not enough hours in the day for me to respond to everyone, do what I have to do, be with family, and he's a full-time student,
That's right.
and he works, I think, with his father's business.
Yeah, he's only just gone on holidays and gone home to his parents.
Yeah. So I kind of understood that because now I'm starting to see that happen now, where I can put out a video and respond to people, but now it's to the point where people are calling me snooty because I can't fly with everyone. Where I used to fly here with this guy, with that guy, with that guy. Now I'm focusing on my channel. I'm trying to advance my channel. I'm trying to help Phantom Flight 101 get monetized. So we have a goal.
But you make an effort to answer people's comments back.
Every single one, I try my best to.
I've noticed it.
I notice that Lawrence tends to use the same formula that I do, which is if he watches a video, he watches it all the way through and leaves a comment that shows that he watched it. And as far as the comments given to him, if somebody just gives a nice video, he'll just give a thumbs up and a quick response. But if somebody takes the time to make a detailed comment, he gives a detailed response. And that's what I try to do.
Dare I say, it's almost a quid pro quo.
Yeah. Well,
it's a transaction, relationship. You know, you're communicating.
Isn't it? Because isn't that the first thing I said to you in the comments was you can tell that yours are well produced.
Oh yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we can notice each other's work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's nice.
We do it. So I'm only relatively new at this, but I've already gained an appreciation in what goes into other people's videos. It's like the best example I can give you amongst the non-professional pilots is Mike Roche. His videos have such a high production value in them, and you just look at them and you know. Now I'm going to close down in a minute because Lloyd's just come online, but yeah, you can tell. I subscribe to a YouTuber for anyone who's listening and is interested. His name's Nick Minchin. He has absolutely nothing to do with drones at all. He's a professional YouTuber and he vlogs giving advice to other YouTubers. And essentially how I do things is how he recommends.
Bald head, glasses.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Nick, I love that guy. He's great.
He's
Nick Nims. He's from TubeBuddy. No, video and TubeBuddy.
No, that's him.
Yeah, I know him. You know what? He's long. People say I'm long-winded, but he's got me beat by a mile. He's long-winded, but he gets to the point and he explains it at every level that someone can understand it.
I like listening to people who are long-winded because I'm long-winded, but I'm also able to take in a lot of detail.
Right. You can catch something you didn't know before.
Well, see, that's it. I'm always taking notes. When I watch someone's video and they do a semi-orbit to the right and start descending, I'm like, wait a minute. That's not your normal orbit, you know. So I take notes on stuff like that. And everyone's video, if I can stop by, and this is something I do, and I got from Nick Nims too. You go through your subscription list and you go to the person's page and you sit there and you muscle down the video. If you can't, muscle down half the video. But watch one of their videos and leave a comment on that video, and people tend to like that.
Yeah, they do. I've gone from nothing to, like, it's nothing compared to you guys, but I've gone from nothing to 230 subs in 4 weeks. And a lot of that time, 2 of those weeks, I had no content up, simply by just following by being polite and following his recommendation.
It's your personality. Come on.
Oh, I know that it's
if you were a schmuck, we wouldn't be here.
he has a valid point. He does have a valid point. But it's one thing that Nick Nims and every professional YouTuber says, YouTube creator says, consistency.
Yep.
You're going to do something, you do it the same day every week, you do it the same month every week, but be consistent. Like I used to I just went from putting out a video every week, and that's really having a high demand on me. So now I'm putting out one flight video every 2 weeks. and I'm streaming 2 live streams a week.
Yep. Which is, I'm doing a video about every 10 days, and now starting this week, 2 live streams. All right, guys, I'm going to be rude here. I'm going to cut it so that Lloyd can get some people on. Besides which, I only took over from Claude, and I've been going an hour and a half. So, and I've been up all night. Sorry, Rick, you've been sitting there all this time. God, I'm shocking at this. I'll get better.
No. I learned a lot just by watching you and listening. That's where I pick up a lot of good information.
I get somebody like Lawrence and James on who are knowledgeable, and I get sucked in, and I forget about the chat and everybody else, and I just try and get as much as I can, and that's what happens. I'll get better. I'm new at this, remember. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us. Any of you who are not going to bed, like Thomas O'Sullivan should be, and who are going to be around, drop over and see Lloyd. And I have my next scheduled one at Thursday my time, which is Wednesday, but it's going to be late for the US. So perhaps I'll catch you at an unscheduled broadcast. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, you.
All right. I wanted to tell you the background noise just went away by itself halfway through.
Yeah, I think you had your mic gain too high.
No, I didn't touch anything. It just went away.
Could be your link. I have heard that link, that sort of disturbance.
There's also an issue of there's sometimes background noise comes from your microphone picking up the speaker very minimally, and that creates background noise a lot as well.
Okay, thank you.
Take care, guys. Right. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one. All right, man. Thank you.